Perhaps we need some outside universal threat to make us recognize this common bound. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
Hello and welcome to Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Always appreciate you tuning us on in, especially on this hump day, the third Wednesday of the month, which means our main man, Merle, is here with us. So get ready to Merle it up, people. Our special guests are Jade and Mandy from Ghost Club Paranormal out of the beautiful state of California. And the best part about tonight, we have all of you. And be in the gold medal position. Race fan in the silver, Tim Mothman and his goatee in the bronze medal tonight. Hi, Robert Lamoth, Dino Bravo, and Roy Boy. Look at Roy Boy, merling it up right off the bat. Same as Race Fan. There we go. Let's kick it into action here, people. Laura Lobbs, Michael Morris, Chris 716. How you doing? Period Dot is here. The Period Dot will be signing autographs after the show. Line up to the left of the studio if you don't mind. To the left of the studio. Do not make eye contact. He hates that. Peppa H, nice to see you. Thanks for coming on in. Hi, Mama Susan. Paul Demon, Eternity Eternal, and Deer Slayer. Thanks for coming on in. Number 17 in your program tonight, starting at left wing from Stockholm, Sweden, Lars Jansson. How you doing, Lars? JBD, nice to have you here. Hi, Shelly. Shelly will be signing autographs after the show as well. Line up to the right of the studio if you don't mind. To the right of the studio. Jennifer Patterson, nice to see you. Hi, Brown Dwarf. Vanessa, thank you for coming on in. Millennium, my man. And Jeeves, good to see you. And Noble Patrick, nice to have you here. Dizzy, Effin Reed, what's going on? How you doing? Good to see you. Karen in the Woo Train, thanks for coming on in. Hi, Kurt M. Skip to Maloo, how are you, my friend? Thank you for joining us. Hi, Philip Baca, good to see you early. Renee Drew, welcome to SOR Chat. Ghosts or demons? We don't really know that. No, we don't. Operation Shutdown and Sandra Kincaid, thank you for joining us. Emmy Woykin, thank you, or me Woykin, whatever. Rock and Rory, nice to have you here. The lovely and talented Kira. There we go. Oh, she's Merle go-rounding. Isn't that nice? Merle go-rounding. Very good. Okay, let's continue on. Jimmy Gonzalez. And who? Oh, it's a Merlicle. Look at that. It's a Merlicle. This is going to be awesome. Here we go. Continuing with our roll call tonight. Doug Shelby is here. The Doug Shelby has arrived, which means we can officially start this show. Let's roll it up on the roll call. Glenn John McEnroe. Pride of Wimbledon is here. Okay. Just another guy named Harry. Metatron Futures. Welcome to SOR Chat. Thank you for joining us. If you're new, don't forget to hit subscribe and ring that bell. We are less than 50 away now from 25,000 on YouTube. So let's help us get there. Hi, Sensational Sherry. Thanks for joining us. As we scroll on down, we say hello to Digger Dog. Algaray over on Twitch, who's lining up on the left of the studio. Appreciate that. Jennifer Patterson, thank you for kicking off the super chat tonight. Very much appreciate your continued love and support of Spaced Out Radio. Thank you very, very much, my friend. All right, moving on here. Let's see who else we got here. Susan Cano, welcome back. And Nina Williams. Dark Starry Sky, the pride of 100 Mile House, right there. We still haven't met, at least I don't think. I don't even know who the hell you are, but that's okay. I'm glad you're here. Continuing on, Ray Finn, thanks for joining us. And Ghostly Oddities, Jake, how you doing, buddy? Thank you very much for your love and support, Jake. And don't forget to hit up Dave Schrader. We want to get you on that show. We totally do. Super Knower, thanks for joining us. And Doc from Wyoming, nice to see you. Let's get the radio side started. Hello and welcome to the radio and podcast side of Spaced Out Radio tonight. Merle is back for Ghosts of the Great White North. We are joined by Jade and Mandy from Ghost Club Paranormal out of California. They got some great stories of everything weird and strange. We're going to get into that here momentarily as Bill WD-40 has entered the chat room, which means he's going to lube us up for tonight's show because you always want to go into a show nice and smooth. That's why we lube it up. You don't want to go rigid. It's always smooth. All right, we got 30 seconds. Reminder to all of you, the super chat is open as well. You can shop at our Spaced Out Radio store. We do not have ugly swag, people. Nothing ugly here. So we want to make sure that you guys go and get your nice swag today. Paramarv, how you doing? He's ready to merle it up. Look at that. Let's merle it up, people. It's that time of the night. We're going to have some fun, so come join us because here we go in 5 seconds. Do me a favor, throw those horns up. Let's rock. From the mountains of central British Columbia to you listening around the world, this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on Odyssey Radio, TalkStream Live, and KPNL. All of our archives are free. Join us at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. You can follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Tonight's show is brought to you by Chive Charities. Help make the world 10% happier by visiting Chive Charities today. You can find them on our website. We got a power show of paranormal fun tonight, as it always is when Merle from Ghosts of the Great White North is here to hang on out with us. And joining us tonight with Merle are the ladies from Ghost Club Paranormal. We have Jade, we have Mandy. We'll get to them momentarily. Then in hour number 3, Steve Stockton from Among the Missing has another spooky story for us. Right after that, some breaking news tonight in the UFO world, as Courtney Marcassani will be here for the UFO report. All right, it is that time of the month where we head to Vancouver, where Merle from the Paranormal Road Trippers joins us for his monthly edition of Ghosts of the Great White North. Merle, in my opinion, is probably the top paranormal investigator in Canada. He's worked all across the Western North American states and provinces, looking for ghosts, ghouls, and goblins wherever they may be hiding. Tonight, we have special guests all the way from beautiful California, near Los Angeles, Ghost Club Paranormal. Now, these ladies are two of the best in their area. They are not afraid of anything. They will go into any dungeon, take any staircase, even if it's in the middle of the forest and shouldn't be there. Mandy and Jade are here, and we're going to say hello to each and every one of them. Merle, first and foremost, how you doing, my friend? Welcome back to Ghosts of the Great White North.
To be here tonight, as always, every month with you.
Well, you know what? We like it. We like it. I have to say this right off the bat. So, people on the radio side don't really know this, but every half an hour on our YouTube side, I change Merle's title to his name. Always coming up with something creative. Well, today, one of your biggest fans in my house came up with your name tonight. At dinner time, the little guy said, call him MERLE the Third.
You know, we'll rock that one for 29 more minutes.
You got that right. Yep. You got that right. I thought it was great, so I'm going with it.
Love it. Thanks,
Colby. And one other thing here. Karen and the Woo Train in our chat room. Thank you. Dave, your hair is so gorgeous. I am having a great hair day today.
You have quite the
Fantastic.
silver mane.
Thank you. Thank you. I am officially a silver fox, people, and I am foxy as ever. Foxy as ever. Yes. All right, Merle, you brought in some special guests here, all the way from California, way down the I-5, hang a right around Orange County, and there we are. Who do we have with us tonight, my friend?
Who do we have? We have Ghost Club Paranormal. And I've actually been watching, Jade, I've been watching your videos and obviously Instagram for quite some time. What I like about your videos, I like your style, how you guys investigate. It's raw. It's more of like a documentary style, and that appeals to me to watch. And you actually care about the history. So the second you start caring about the history, I care about the videos. And you also you go to a lot more obscure places. You don't just go to the places everyone goes to, the popular ones. You guys seem to seek out like your haunted Airbnbs or the witch's cabin you did with Barrier Beyond. That's some cool places, and I admire people like you guys that actually will take the time and look for places off the beaten path. So thanks for coming on.
Well, thank you for having us. We appreciate it. And the
Awesome.
raw thing where you said about the rawness, it could just be down to my terrible editing. I'm not the best editor. It is very raw, but I kind of like it. It's kind of like Blair Witch style, you know?
And that's kind of the style I like to film as well. Me and my friend Jake, we do a lot of videos as well, and they're very episode-y, but it's kind of cool to watch like documentary style. It looks like documentaries, and I quite it's awesome. So
yeah.
And your editing turnaround, Jesus, my
You
hat
think
goes
it's gotten
off to you. It's fast. It's fast.
It's fast. Oh, it's fast. It is fast. Yeah. We last weekend's investigation, we done the Witch's Tower in San Diego. And yeah, I had that episode out within a week. And I work a full-time job, and Mandy also works full-time as well. But yeah, for editing, it's long days, but it's good and it's fun. So yeah, we're enjoying it.
I want to ask you, we'll start off with you, Mandy. You know, in regards to your love of the paranormal and searching for the unknown, why do you do it? What got you into this?
Oh gosh, you ready for a long story?
We have 2 hours. We have
2 hours.
I am a psychic medium, and that's essentially what got me into the paranormal. I've been having experiences since I was a child, and my house that I grew up in is haunted. My parents still live in the house that I grew up in as well. So we've had activity there since I can remember. It's been ever changing. So all my personal experiences in my home, and then of course growing up watching all the ghost shows, you know, everybody watched Ghost Adventures and Ghost Hunters and Paranormal State, like all of that mixed together, my whole life just seemed to be nothing but paranormal. And it wasn't until I got a little bit older, like early 20s, that I really started to branch out, and actually I was like, hey, I could do this too. I could buy my own equipment and investigate. So it kind of just took off from there.
That sounds like a lot of fun. I mean, growing up as a psychic intuitive, I mean, you must have had some pretty loud nights with ghosts and spirits coming in saying, hey, kid, wake up. I need some help here.
Oh my gosh, the stories. I could go on for days. I've had almost every experience under the sun. It started out when I was a kid as clairaudience, which is being able to hear spirit. So that was terrifying as a small child, hearing people talking, but you can't see them. Or having people, touch you while you're sleeping, or opening things, moving things. And then it slowly morphed into visual. So actually being able to see the spirits in my home, which was a whole nother level that I was not quite prepared for. So I was the child that slept with the light on at night because I was terrified to go to sleep. I had to have the TV on because it was just like to tune out the chatter. It was a lot.
That way.
I'm still that way. Yes, that has not changed. So it, my poor parents were just like, what do we do with this child?
What was your first experience of seeing spirits?
So my
Where you knew
first
it was like,
time,
yeah.
yeah. So I mean, my first experience that was not fully formed. Like I saw like a shadow person. That was my first like true experience, was this shadow man that would stand in the corner of my room and just stare at me. But I could never make out like facial features or anything like that. And it wasn't until I actually got a little bit older, and I was in, oh, how old was I? I was actually a little bit older. I was like 10. So there was quite a bit of a gap between the shadow man when I was a kid and when I turned 10. And I actually, at the time, I didn't know who it was, but I encountered my great grandmother, who's dead, in my hallway in my house, and scared the living crap out of me because, there was this full fleshed woman just standing there. And, that was my first real experience. And then I found out later, after describing her, that was my great grandmother. And then from there, it just totally took off. I was seeing things all the time.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's been fun.
And Jade, how about for you? You have an obvious love and passion for this subject. You stay up until all hours of the night, going over videos and evidence and editing film. Why do you love this so much?
Well, I'm kind of similar to Mandy, and I feel like a lot of people who are into the paranormal have all had some sort of experience. Usually when you're younger, I've noticed that that's been a thing. But yeah, for me, I was about 7 years old, and a little bit of a backstory. I was born in Edinburgh, Scotland, so that's where I'm from, and I moved to California in 2012. So I was about 7 years old, and I was at my nana and granddad's like flat, like apartment, but it's very, very old. It's all made of stone. It's just freezing cold all the time there, and it's very, very, very spooky staircase and everything inside. And my dad, who's American, came over to visit, and my nana and granddad were like, "Well, since you're over for 2 weeks, we'll get a hotel and you can stay in our house." So he took that opportunity, and it was him and my stepmom that came over, and I was about 7 years old. And I remember so clearly, we went to the video store, and kind of showing my age there a little bit, the video store. We went and got some VCRs. But I remember we picked up, I think it was about 5 or 6 of them. And then we came home, and my dad said, "I'm just going to go for a cigarette real fast. I'll be right back." Back in those days, you could smoke in the stairwell. We were on the second story. You could smoke in the stairwell. There was no like smoking regulations or anything. And I'm looking at the videotapes and I'm thinking, what one should we watch first? And my stepmom said, "Go ask your dad." So I opened the door to the stairwell, and he's not out there. And I remember looking all the way up, and there's a big skylight at the top of the stairwell, and looking down and shouting, "Dad, Dad." And my voice is echoing through the stairwell. And I thought that he was playing a joke on me, because I just felt like I was being watched. And nobody was answering me. So I go down to the main door that goes out onto the street. And I remember just getting this really, really weird feeling like there was something blocking me. And something told me, "Do not open that door," which is bizarre, because back in those days, like I used to play out on the street all the time. I was allowed to go out there. But I remember that strong feeling, "Don't go out there." So I go back into the apartment, and I ask my stepmom, "Is it okay if I open the door to see if my dad's outside?" And she's like, "Of course." So I go back down, I open the door, I look left and I look right, and he's not there. I close the door. Now, this is a heavy door. This place must be about 100 years old at this time. The building was about 100 years old. So if you close that door, it echoes all the way through the staircase. And so I close the door, I turn around, go back up to the second story. I look up and I'm like, I'll try again, "Dad." And when I look down, there's just a woman. She just appeared out of nowhere. And she was standing at the bottom of the staircase. And she was floating about 3 feet above the ground. And she was completely covered in black rags. And she had a hood over her head, so I couldn't see her face.
Cool.
And she looks I'm freaking out at this point, but I was so scared that I couldn't move. So I'm standing there staring at her, and then she slowly starts to come up towards the staircase directly towards me. And she gets about halfway up and she says, and no joke, she spoke and she said, "Dad, walk up the street." And then the second she said that, I just snapped out of it and I ran into the house and I shut the door and I locked the door and I ran through and I was freaking out and I didn't know what the heck I had just seen. And so about 10 minutes go by and the buzzer goes, like, the little like intercom for like outside onto the street. And I answer it and it's my dad. And he's like, "Hey, let me in." And I'm like, "Where were you?" And he's like, "Just Jade, let me in." I'm like, "No, where were you?" He said, "I just walked up the street." And it was word for word what she had said, "Dad, walk up the street." So I was freaked out. Long story short, we didn't watch any movies that night. We sat around and we told ghost stories. And that was the first time that I'd really, learned what a ghost was. And after that, I'm drawing pictures of her. And it freaked my mom out for sure. But I just couldn't let it go. And ever since that moment, I have been trying to to find this again, and not specifically her, but I know that this exists, and I know that this exists. It's not just in horror movies. Like, she was as real as all of us, and she was floating, and her voice, it just wasn't like a human voice. It was strange. But now, with all the experience that I have and all the research that I've done, I actually do believe that despite her appearance looking very scary, I think that she was trying to help me. And I don't know what would have happened to me if I'd opened the door the first time, but who knows? I could have got hit by a car, I could have been kidnapped. I feel like she was protecting me in some way. And when she says, "Dad, walk up the street," she was simply just saying, "Hey, your dad went up the street." She was trying to help me out. So pretty cool. I don't know, her, just the way she looked, it kind of looked like she was from like the plague kind of era, back in Scotland when, yeah, there's so much history all to that, but I do feel like that was kind of the her like time frame. That's where she was from. Her time period was probably from like the plague. Yeah.
That is a beautiful, beautiful story there. I mean, the fact that you went from going to, fear to wondering if she was there to help you. I
Mhm.
mean, what were kind of the signs over time that you've learned that kind of make you think that she was there to help you in that situation?
Well, just as I said, like, I feel like the feeling that I got by the door, I don't know when I thought about that, but it was a thought randomly one day, and I'm thinking, what would have happened if I went out there? Like, she must have been watching me the entire time, and that was the feeling that I was getting. I thought it was my dad watching me, but obviously he wasn't there. Um, yeah, appearance wise, I honestly, I don't know when that happened or when I came up with that conclusion. It's just been something over time. I've just kind of pieced it together like a little bit at a time. But what I would love to do is go back, and I would love to investigate that apartment. That would be wild.
Merle.
That reminds me just that I used to live in the UK. I did a stint over there, and
Oh, nice.
I did. I lived in London, and I was a bartender previous life. Um, I lived in Southeast London, and the flat I lived in, it was old. It was close to the Tower of London. The street used to be where all the knights used to joust way back in the day, and then it was a brothel. Such was half of Southeast London back then. And I was coming home from work one night, and similar situation. I get what you mean by the stairs. There's only one door at the top and one at the bottom.
Yeah.
And I don't think England or the UK has heard of elevators before, but I got in shape. Anyhow, um, I was going up to the third floor, getting ready to go to bed and whatnot, and I saw a full body apparition, kind of in the similar outfit as what you were describing. Well, it would have been more like, I say, Jack the Ripper era, ladies of the night, um, dressing. And I just remember seeing her in it was like a sage green dress with like really red hair, and then just poof, gone. And I would like, I guess what reminds me of that story is when you said how you want to go back to that building and investigate it. Man, where I used to live in the UK, that's on my bucket list as well, to go back, and because I'm really into the full body apparition experience, because I've had a handful. I've had
Yeah.
the interactions of, like, I've been choked before. Like, I've seen you guys, you've been scratched before in your episodes, and that stuff really is kind of like a reality check when we're doing our investigations.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, Mandy and I were talking about this not that long ago, and I just asked her, I was like, what would you actually do if you see a full-bodied apparition again? Just like how you saw your grandmother that one time, and just like how I saw that lady. Like, how would you react? And you can answer that just now, Mandy, but I mean, that's a question that we do have to ask ourselves as paranormal investigators. Is it's all great, and spirit boxes are fun, but it's that this is what we're here for. What happens when it happens?
Mhm.
Yeah.
When it gets real right quick.
Yes.
We have about 3.5 minutes before we have to go to break here. At the bottom of the hour, goes to the Great White North with Merle and Jaded Mandy from the great team of Ghost Club Paranormal out of Orange County, California. And ladies, I want to start kind of preparing for the second half hour, because we're going to get into a lot of your ghost stories and encounters. You know, not every place is haunted, but there sure is a lot of hauntings around. In your opinion, how do you choose your locations, Mandy, on where you guys are going to go investigate, and why?
So I actually feel like, I lately I feel like Jade's been picking the locations. I feel like we both get into these grooves, and so I'll push out a couple locations, and then she'll push out a couple. I feel like it's pretty like even keel, but um, honestly, I just found somebody who wants to investigate with me. And so I'm like, hey, I have a list of these places that I would like to go at some point in time. When can we do them? Whereas Jade takes a lot of time to really like look into those locations that maybe are off the beaten path, like the Witch's Tower, things like that, things that I would have never found.
Mhm.
Would you say that's similar for you, Jade?
Yeah, well, even sometimes I'll just look on Google Maps and look at areas around, where we're located, find aesthetically creepy looking places, and
Yes.
then research and see if there's been any weird things happening. And if there's been a strange, like, unsolved mystery goes along with a very creepy looking area, like that's a perfect recipe for an episode right there.
It's out of my cookbook too. That's kind of
Mhm.
how I gauge. It's like how you guys, I forget the name of the hotel off the top of my head, but across the street from the Mizpah, when you went to the lesser known one,
Yeah, the
Bavada.
I
Bavada.
actually I watched that one because obviously I watched a few before our interview here too. But I'm like, damn, that's the right thing to do. Go somewhere where nobody else goes.
Yeah, nobody investigates there. It's
No, and
weird.
I think we were in the hotel room, and I remember we were like looking out the window and we're staring across the street at the Bavada, and we're like, huh, has nobody ever been there before? And then we're like, wait, nobody's ever been there before. We should go there.
We got about 45 seconds to go here, and we can follow this up in the next half hour. But you guys are battling with a lot of different paranormal teams, hundreds in that Southern California area. How do you keep it different from what everybody else is doing?
Yeah, that's the hard part, right? Is that this field is the paranormal is very saturated, and you have everybody doing the same thing. I think that, not to toot our own horn, but there's something special, and I know a lot of people say that, and that's fine. But there's something special between Jade and I, where I truly feel that we can turn on the activity, and almost actually in every location we've ever been together, we've never left with nothing. Like we are able to turn it on.
All right, we are going to continue with Jade and Mandy from Ghost Club Paranormal out of the beautiful Southern California area. Merle is here for Ghost of the Great White North. We're going to continue with some awesome ghost stories from these ladies when we return on Spaced Out Radio. Good, solid first half hour, ladies.
That's quick.
Great job.
That went really fast.
So fast.
Real
That's
fast.
how we do it here.
So we're technically still live on the YouTube, just not on the radio right now, right?
That's right, Merle Bird.
Awesome.
Who gets the worm?
Dude, you know people at work call me Merle now? It's not even my... It's my name on here.
Merle the Third.
I
I have
that.
a question. What
Oh, go
are
on.
the pictures in your house, Merle? What's going on back there? I love it.
So what I do whenever I go to locations, I have to sniff out an antique shop or six, and I need to
Yes.
buy what you see behind me. But the whole way I choose them is I can feel energy on these type of things,
That's so
and I buy them. So yeah, like literally every place we go investigate, I buy a Victorian photo.
They're beautiful, by the way. Like
Yeah,
they're
and I'm
beautiful.
at 10 now. Actually, Jade,
I love
the
it.
one right there, the old lady, she is from Scotland.
Oh.
That is from Scotland, that one. Yeah.
Which
Oh,
one?
that's cool.
Edinburgh as well.
Edinburgh as well.
I call her Granny. It's the one beside the guy with the mustache right there.
Imagine if it's the imagine if it's the ghost I saw, the ghost woman.
And here we are, full circle. Now, Mandy, you being a medium, can you pick up anything from any of them?
Oh yeah, that first one, the woman on the right side of the screen, so that would be your left. That first one,
That one?
right there. That lady. Whew. She's coming in hot. Also, the one in the very, very back.
The man?
Is that? It's hard to see from here, but the one in the very, very back, like right behind your head, like directly behind your head. That one right there. Is that? Which one is that? That is Granny. Okay,
Yeah.
I can't see it from here.
The man. I think you're talking about the man right next to the window.
No, I'm talking about the Granny.
Oh,
Can you blow it up
Granny.
again?
Yeah, I'm talking about Granny.
Granny.
That one. Yeah. I mean, all of them have energies, but those two in particular are so strong.
Interesting. Okay.
Especially that first one, that woman, like.
Yeah, I get a ton
Very
off of her.
stern.
Oh,
She is. Yeah, she's strong.
I don't know how you can focus with all them eyes on you.
There's a new one, the newest one. I haven't even put her up yet.
I just got chills.
Yeah.
He is a shade of innocence. He didn't die well. It's like he died in a war.
Her?
Is it a her?
I think
Looks like
it's
a
her.
Well, with her dress on? I think so. Kind of a chiseled jaw, though. You're right, Dave.
It looks like a man. I'm sorry. It just there's something to wartime with that photo.
She looks like she's wearing a Victorian morning dress in that. So you never know, right? So
Yeah, we do the same thing when we go on investigations. We're always checking out the antique stores and picking things up. I'm actually I'm like trying to get rid of some of the stuff that I have from investigations.
What do you have?
I have.
I'm kidding.
I was gonna say.
Half kidding. I'm like, what you got for sale?
I did collect like antique toys for the longest time.
Nice.
Yeah, like tin toys and things like that. And I used to collect haunted dolls and all this stuff. And now I'm just like, I don't know. I've been a homeowner now for almost 2 years, and I really just want like a clean space, if that makes sense. Because I feel like I'm just around the paranormal 24/7. But Mandy, on the other hand, yeah, you have a lot of haunted stuff now.
Mandy, are you a collector as well?
Yes. So I am, or I'm a couple different kinds of collectors. I am a Civil War collector. Um, it's
So,
my
so like these things.
yes. I actually have a couple of those. But most of my Civil War pieces, it's so when I go into an antique shop, I let the item choose me. So I go to where I feel drawn to go. And then usually there's something Civil War over there that's meant to come home. So I have a ton of Civil War stuff and then haunted items, very random haunted items. So,
Okay,
uh,
okay, guys. I hate to cut you off. We're on in 20 seconds. Thank you to Jennifer, Jake, and Forrest Louie for the great super chats. It's a wonderful way to support what we do on this show on a nightly basis. Also, don't forget, you can shop at our Spaced Out Radio store. There's no ugly swag there, people. And you can pick up your Merle shirts there. We got to add one more here very soon. Here we go, everyone. Here we go, the second half hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. Thank you for joining us. My name is Dave Scott. Yes, a man who wears a lot of tinfoil. That would be me. Reminder to all of you, hey, if you miss portions of this show or others, you can check out our free archives. We're on youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. You know, we're only like 40 some away from 25,000 subscribers. We'd love for you to hit subscribe and ring that bell if you don't mind. Just go do it. It's a lot of fun. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. It's Ghosts of the Great White North with our main man Merle here. And we are hanging out with Mandy and Jade from Ghost Club Paranormal, and we're talking ghostly encounters. Merle, thank you for joining us tonight, man. And by the way, we should mention that if you're interested in coming to our SOR fan party, our third annual SOR fan party this year in Reno, Nevada, May 10th through 12th, at the Silver Legacy Casino and Resort, well, not only are we going to have the live radio show that we're going to do from there, we are also going to have a VIP party. And then on the Saturday morning, Merle is taking whoever wants to go up to Virginia City for a ghost tour to talk some paranormal and supernatural. Then we got the UFO watch that night with Melinda Leslie. So if you want to go, info@spacedoutradio.com, info@spacedoutradio.com, and reserve your tickets today. Merle, here we go, buddy. Let's get this thing going.
Sounds good. So when we were off air during the break, we were talking about the photo of the fam jam behind me. That's what I refer to them as, the fam jam. It reminded me of actually a ghost story about them. So my buddy Jake, he always comes up here from Washington to when we do our filming of our ghostly shows, and he usually crashes on my couch before we go. And then he said he had a ghostly lady basically standing over him and woke him up out of a dead sleep. And I'm wondering if it is the one you honed in on, Mandy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so there's 5 very antique pictures on the wall behind you. Mandy chose the one on the right, which is like a woman, like she looks very stern to me. She's in like her proper vintage black dress, turtleneck. And what vibes are you getting from that one, Mandy?
Yeah, before we finished, I was hearing from the picture that she's actually very frequent throughout your home. So I know. So I don't know if you personally had any encounters with her, but she definitely hangs out in the home. So I'm not surprised that somebody had an encounter with her. She's very protective energy, though. I know some people commented that she seems very stern. I would have to agree with that as well. But in a loving, protective kind of way. So it's almost like she's watching out for your family and looking over you. And anybody who comes in that's unfamiliar is kind of like, hey, I'm going to gonna I'm gonna check you out and observe you because I don't quite trust you. And I think that she went through a lot in her life that made her untrusting of people. Sorry, I'm getting carried away now, but she's really
going.
prominent in your home. And I'm actually getting an A name. I know we can't quite confirm that, but I am getting something with the initial A, like Angela or Angie or something like that. But yeah, she's a protector though. She's not anything. She's a great spirit actually to have in your home. Yeah, you should be
Excellent.
lucky.
Excellent.
Even
Yeah,
if she looks creepy.
yeah, whenever I have new people come over or like friends and whatnot, they feel pretty uneasy for about the first half an hour. I'm like, don't worry about it.
You
And
should
Yeah,
then,
stick your
just tell them
spirit
don't worry
box
about it.
on one day and just ask. I don't
Mhm.
know if you've ever, I don't know if you turn equipment on in your house. I know that some people are kind of like iffy about that.
Nope.
You're one of those.
Yeah,
Okay.
I never poop where I eat with that stuff. So
Yeah. Yeah. No, I get that as well.
Yeah.
Always an option. I'm
Yeah,
weird
like
with it too. I don't,
I have
I
a
don't
pile of
like,
gear right beside me because it's not packed away. But I've thought about investigating my own home. I know people want to because I also collect haunted objects too. Like I have death photos from Victorian era. I also collect
Yes.
war stuff. I have some Civil War stuff. I have some World War II stuff, and we may just do it. We may just let our hair down and do it one night. Who knows?
hey, people used to do it all the time in the 60s. Hold a seance,
That's
let
true.
your hair down, have some fun.
Yeah, it's just my house, right?
Well,
So-
let's get into some of your ghost stories, ladies, as we continue on with Ghosts of the Great White North here. Mandy and Jade from Ghost Club Paranormal. When you guys are on a location, one of the things I really enjoyed Merle saying in the first half hour of the show is that you guys look for those obscure locations that probably have never been investigated, which is hard to do in a jam-packed area where there's a lot of paranormal teams. What is your favorite haunting, Jade? Tell us one of your favorite stories that you've had encounters with over the years.
Gosh, one place that you did mention is Virginia City. Virginia City, hands down, that's in Nevada, is one of our favorite locations to go. And I mean, there's so many haunted hot spots there. And you can rent them out for fairly cheap as well, which is nice. But I would definitely say Mackey Mansion. Mackey Mansion, hands down, is still top of the list on investigations for me. And it wasn't super dark, creepy kind of. That's why I loved it. It was because my nana came through, and
wow.
it was the year of her passing, and this was mine and Mandy's first investigation ever. And she told me, I've got this weird feeling about this mirror upstairs. I have a feeling that family members come through this mirror. She had been there before, so she had experienced that herself before, but it wasn't a very known thing, this mirror being a portal almost to connect with your family members. And when we got there, I was like, okay, let's try it out. And Mandy didn't really know anything. She didn't know that my nana had been passed away. I don't think you did anyway for like the year.
No, I barely knew you that first trip.
Yeah, you barely knew
You're
me.
so crazy.
But I was standing in front of the mirror, and all of a sudden I felt my nana's hands tickling down my back. And I know that it was my nana's hands because I didn't instantly get scared. It was a very weird, comforting feeling. And she used to tickle my back every single night before I went to sleep when I was younger. And I felt that, and my eyes go really wide. And then all of a sudden, through, I think it was the spirit box we had, it said family. And I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, no way. It was the Ovilus that it came through. Mm-hmm. So it's like a device that spirits can pick out certain words. So it said family. And then we grabbed the spirit box, which is the radio that uses radio frequencies and white noise for spirit to actually speak and communicate. And I said, Nana, if this is you, I said, what animal do you come to me as? And through the spirit box, it said a dove, which was wild because there was a dove on my windowsill that morning. And that's the bird that I always, that's what I connect my nana with, is a white dove who's been visiting me ever since she passed away. And then the next question was, okay, Nana, do you know how long it's been since you've passed? And through the spirit box, you hear a voice saying, May 4th. And it was, we done this on May 5th. We were doing the investigation on May 5th, but it was exactly
Wow.
a year after she had passed. And just to get that actual, like, her words, you know, come through, and it was so validating and so beautiful. And I'm just sobbing, you know. I've never experienced anything like it before. And I think that a lot of that was also Mandy being there, and just whatever energy that she was bringing. Maybe she really wanted this for me. I'm not too sure, but yeah, that was amazing.
Yeah,
Damn.
that was a wild experience because just to add on to that, I had investigated Mackie Mansion, I want to say at least 3 or 4 times prior to when I investigated with Jade. And each time I had been, my very first visit to Mackie Mansion, I had an experience up on that 3rd floor, sitting directly in front of the mirror, where not even realizing at the time the mirror, but sitting directly in front of the mirror that my grandmother had come through the spirit box, and it was her vocal tone and everything. Like that was my grandmother's voice. And it was the first time that I had heard my grandmother since she had passed away 2 years prior. And I was with my dad investigating at the time, and we both were just tripping out, and we had a full conversation with her through the spirit box in front of this mirror. So I just thought, wow, this is so cool. And but at the time, you know, we know that mirrors are portals, or I work with mirrors as portals all the time. But in that moment, I didn't even realize that the mirror was right there, and I just didn't relate it. And then the second time I went to Mackie Mansion, I had taken some friends, and we get in front of this mirror, and we're standing there in the hallway, and her loved ones start coming through on the spirit box. Her dad had come through and all of this stuff. I go back again with another friend. His grandpa comes through. And I just realized every time this has happened, it's right in front of this mirror. And so I'm like, I think that there's something to this. Like, it didn't happen in any other spot. It wasn't until we got directly in front of the mirror that people's loved ones were coming through. And I was like, okay, there is something going on with this particular mirror. And it's like literally like a portal straight to your loved ones. I don't know. So when we took Jade, I was like, all right, we have to test this out, because if it works with Jade, there is really something to this. And sure enough, her Nana just comes through out of nowhere. So
And I didn't know all them stories either. Like, I didn't know that everybody's grandparents, and so that wasn't even in my head before going there, which just makes it even more amazing. Like,
Wow.
yeah. So that was a wild experience.
That was, but it was good. It was fun. Like, I loved that one so much. And we are going back to Virginia City. We have planned a couple of investigations there. So that will be out on our YouTube channel in the next few months. So excited to go back.
Out of all the places that you have investigated, Mandy, you know, is there a story that really hits home to you that maybe just got your emotions tugging that you can share with us?
Oh, my emotions. That's hard. I feel like I've been in a lot of weird situations. I wouldn't say honestly, like emotions, the most emotional I've ever been on investigation was that one where my grandmother came through. That one really shook me, because up until that point, I had never experienced anything like that before with a loved one. I honestly never even really thought that was, I don't know, it was never a thought to be like, oh, let me just see if I could talk to my loved ones through the spirit box. It was always like, let me talk to the spirits in this location. So to be, you know, in Nevada, and but my grandma died in California, and to have her come through in this small little mansion in Nevada was so emotional for me. But I would say, though, I've had a lot of experiences where I've been like shocked in that capacity. But that was honestly the only investigation where I really like got emotional and was like in tears, because it was just so much to hear my grandmother again.
Yeah, that would be a hard one.
Yeah.
That would be a hard one. How about for you, Jade?
Emotional wise,
Yeah.
oh gosh. Didn't I care? I don't know. How many investigations have I cried on, Mandy?
I mean,
think
honestly is the only one I've seen you cry on was the Mackie Mansion one.
yeah, I think another one for me, not in where is the Nevada State Prison? Nevada
Oh, the
State
prison.
Prison.
Okay.
Okay, so before we started our investigation at Nevada State Prison, we were walking through it. We were just doing the tour. We were walking through it. And I just got this overwhelming sense of I wanted to cry. I was holding back tears that entire time. I was so scared, and I never ever get like that. And I'm so glad that we it wrapped up pretty fast and we got out of there, but I was nervous. Um and I do believe that I was actually feeling the emotions of the prisoners there or something like that, because I mean, it was usually places like that you walk through, you're like, wow, this is cool, this is history, like you're taking it in, but never have I ever felt those kind of emotions just randomly brought up on me. It was a little invasive, I'm not going to lie. And then we had a very strange night that night also. um I pretty much mentally tapped out after the first like couple of hours on that investigation, um, because it was very strange. It was the first time on an investigation that I felt like I had lost sense of time and I was not myself. And when I had to review that footage, I was really freaked out. I had to step away from my computer. My face, my eyes, the way I was looking at Mandy. We were standing outside the jail cells, and all of a sudden, as we were walking into the jail cells, I felt very dizzy, very dizzy. And then that was pretty much the last thing that I can really remember. And then next thing I know, it all kind of like it was all a blur. And then we leave, and then I start uncontrollably shaking, almost like my body was like going into like a seizure or something. And then Mandy called the caretaker of the prison, and she came in and got us and went outside and grounded me outside. And but I didn't know this in the moment, but I was like trying to like get out of the prison. I was trying to open doors that couldn't open, and I was being very like aggressive about it, and I'm going, no, we need, like, there's something behind this, we need to, and it just was not me. Like, I don't act like that, like, at all. But when I talked to the caretaker, when I told her that I felt dizzy, she said, oh, was it this specific spot of the prison? I said, yeah. And she was like, yes, there's definitely a vortex right there, because so many people have experienced the same thing. When you walk through this threshold, it's like you lose sense of time. And I don't know if that's like an inmate that was trying to, I don't know, influence me or try to get out of the prison, because I don't even know what I was doing. I'm not gonna lie, I don't even know what I was doing, but it freaked me out.
Yeah, that was a wild experience.
Putting yourself in those areas there where, I mean, some people may say it's dangerous, some people may say, you're putting yourself at risk because you don't really know who you're talking to. We often forget that a lot of these spirits and ghosts out there really do have a story to tell, number one, but number two, a lot of them are still emotionally, how can we put it, emotionally affected by what they're missing on this side. And how do you deal with that when a ghost comes to you actually saying, like, what happened? Where am I? What's going on? Mandy, do you want to start with that one?
Yeah, that's a hard one when a spirit is still in that state of confusion. I've actually encountered quite a few spirits, and I know it is really sad, but it's true. I have encountered quite a few spirits who have presented as, I don't understand any of this. I don't know where I'm at. I actually I have had an incident at Ashmore Estates, if you guys are familiar with that location in Illinois. It's a old asylum, mental asylum, that's, you know, now abandoned for ghost tours. And I remember this one tugged at my heartstrings, but we were communicating with some children, and this child came through, and he said he was only like 9. And, you know, we had asked him, you know, why are you still here? Why are you still in this location? And he clearly said, full sentence, because I'm stupid. And it broke my heart because, again, remember, this was in a mental asylum. And so all sorts of people were placed here, including children, because of, you know, maybe they had disabilities, or maybe their parents just felt they couldn't handle them and put them there. And it was so heartbreaking because there are so many spirits that are still in that state of mind. The best thing that I find that I try to do in that situation is, of course, explain to them the best of my ability what I think is happening. But also, at the end of the day, like, spirits are strong enough. They have free will. They can pass themselves on. They can move themselves along. That's part of their job. That's part of their journey. And so what I try to do is, with, you know, and Jade's seen it, whenever we're on a location, I do try to leave something behind for them, whether it's my energy or a ritual, or working with my own team, my spirit team, to try to help them realize that try to help them get them into a space mentally, so that way they can move on and move forward. Because it's not my job to move them on, but it is part of my job to help give them the tools to move on. What about you, Jade?
Maybe I've got a couple in mind. But one of them that really sticks out was, my friend called me up. This is in the very beginning of investigating and starting the YouTube channel. So it is up there, but it's one of my first investigations. Terrible quality. But my friend called me up and she said, hey, there's this abandoned house. It's just recently abandoned in Los Angeles. Like, let's go check it out. I was like, great, perfect. So we get into the house, and when we get inside, it is very recently abandoned. Everything is still pretty much in there. The house had been destroyed from people coming in and just like grabbing anything, all the valuables. But other than that, like, the house was in perfect condition. And this was during COVID. So I guess that had something to do with it. And went in there, and it was very, very sad. All the valuables had been taken, and there was just this very strange feeling going on in the house. And it did feel like a confusion. And I was confused as well why this lady's things were still in perfect condition. And then I found out that she had just died of old age. And the only things that were like scattered on the floor were pictures, photographs of family, just everywhere. And obviously the people who came in to take the valuables didn't want the family photos. Why would they? So that one really hit hard. And afterwards, I came home and I looked through my footage, and I found a Disneyland pass with her name on it. And then from that name, I was able to go Ancestry, and I was able to find out that she was actually first generation German. And she never had any family. She never married, and she never had any kids. So all of her family were still in Germany. So I found her family from Germany and reached out to them. And they were like, thank God you got in touch with us. We can't travel because the travel ban was going on at that time. So they couldn't even come over, gather any of her belongings or anything like that. So I went back to the house and I took all the photos. And how I found her family wasn't even through Ancestry. It was from a photograph with somebody's name on it, because she labeled every single photograph.
Wow.
And collected all the photos, and then I was able to send the photos to her family in Germany and be like, hey, like, scanned them and sent them, and was like, hey, like, this is you and your family. They're like, we never even knew that photo existed. It was so cool. And I was able to send her family the photos back, and I found her yearbook, and it was just so cool. And just to figure out her whole entire life story. But when I did go back to pick up those photos, I told her when I walked in the house, I was like, I'm coming to collect your photos. I'm not stealing your photos, I promise. I'm sending them back to Germany where they belong with your family. And after that, it was like, whew, a weight had been lifted off that house.
We got Mandy, we got Jade from Ghost Club Paranormal, and our main man Merle, top paranormal investigator in Canada for Ghosts of the Great White North, right here on Spaced Out Radio. Stay tuned. We'll be back with more ghostly encounters when we return. All right, we are clear.
You just cannot, like, it's hard not to vibe to that music.
I know, I rock back and forth in the chair.
By the way,
So
Merle,
good.
did you like Merle Talica?
Yeah, that's a good one too, Dave. That's a great one.
Yeah. And Dirty Filth. I see we have a blob sighting. We have a blob sighting.
Oh my gosh.
Stop, I'm going to cry.
Blob is a bigger star, is one of the biggest stars of this show.
Look
And
at that angel.
sometimes she helps actually draw the photos.
Oh my gosh.
Clearly, she's supervising tonight.
I mean,
Yeah.
just working so
Bill,
hard.
turn your mic on.
What are the photos that are being drawn right now?
Well, we'll get Dirty Filth in here as soon as he's done this line right here. You know,
Who needs rulers?
who needs rulers when you have blob?
Uh-oh.
Here he goes. Here it comes.
We're on
Here it
blob's time.
Oh my gosh, is that an alien?
Probably. Yep. Hi, Dirty Filth.
Hi, Dave. Hi, Merle. Hi, cohorts.
I'll be right back, guys.
Oh.
That's
Well,
good.
it looks
blob.
like I'm in charge now.
You're in charge, Filth.
All right. We're going to double the whiskey rations. First thing.
Okay.
Okay. No, jeez. Oh,
So what are we drawing?
There's blood.
Oh, are these the ghost alien? I see a ghost.
This is the thing about the ghost aliens, Merle.
Okay.
I inquired about that previously tonight.
Yes. And here they are coming to fruition.
Well, you know what? Since we got like 4 minutes or whatever, or less. Okay. Anybody listening? The question I asked Merle about it. I guess I said, how come there's no ghost aliens or alien ghosts? Strike that, reverse that. There's no alien ghosts, apparently. And apparently Merle's perplexed about it. I'll be quiet.
Well,
At Merle, I'll just draw cartoons.
I feel like I want to comment on this.
Have at it.
So it's tricky because aliens communicate telepathically. So unless something changes, I don't believe we'll ever actually get audio of an alien speaking. So how we can't tell where the ghost aliens are because we can't hear from them.
But if they're already dead and they've been added to the collection of the
Still
dead,
telepathic.
I mean, shouldn't they?
I don't know.
shouldn't there
That's
be
just my
something?
opinion.
Well, no, Mandy
saying.
legit speaks with aliens.
Yeah. I've
Yeah.
never spoken with dead ones though. That's interesting.
Never with dead ones, but we definitely have a lot of alien stories.
Oh my god, we
So-
have so many.
So
when
many.
Dave comes back, I'm going to say Mandy talks to aliens and
Yes.
watch his little face light up because Spaced Out Radio is very alien UFO heavy. That's usually the forte. I'm the once a month ghost guy, which is awesome. And so when he finds out we got aliens to talk about later, you watch this ship turn. It's gonna be good.
Oh. Really, like, I mean, we have a lot of alien stories.
Oh, God.
A
Awesome.
lot. And our channel's obviously the Ghost Club Paranormal.
Mhm.
But at some point we keep saying this, but like we have to do something about aliens. I don't know what it is, but I want to take our ghost equipment and I want to see if we can communicate with aliens with this stuff.
It's funny you mentioned
Dead
that.
aliens or alive aliens?
Alive, preferably.
Let's just see what sticks. Funny you mentioned that. I went to Spokane this past summer, and
nice.
I did a CE5 experiment, and I filmed it all because
Jealous.
I'm not an alien experiencer. I do believe in it. I do believe everyone has their stories and whatnot, and I find it interesting. But I wanted to like have an experience, so I filmed it kind of like documentary style, and it was just interesting to watch. And we used the spirit box. What else did we use? Mainly just cameras and audio, but yeah, I think maybe an alien can manipulate all of our gear. Who knows? So
Yeah.
That's what I'm curious about. I'm curious about like the electromagnetic energy that
Mhm.
aliens could use, and that's exactly, stick a couple of REM pods out. I don't see why not. I really want to just do an episode where it's like Jade and Mandy try and get abducted by aliens.
yes,
And we just try and figure
On
out
camera.
on camera. It has to be on camera. Always on camera.
My biggest thing about Sasquatch and Dogman, someone has to get clubbed over the head with a stick by a Sasquatch or shredded on live whatever by a Dogman. That's the only way we can get it. Someone has to take that fall.
yeah.
If you see
I
a
mean,
dog
I'm
man,
willing.
rush towards it as soon as possible. If you're filming your random YouTube thing, run towards that dog man. If it kills
All
you,
right.
we got evidence.
All
Sorry,
right,
Dave,
guys,
you
we
might
got,
want to edit
we
that
got
out of there.
25 seconds. Thank you to Jennifer, Jake, and Louie for the super chats. Very much appreciate the love. Hello to our guests just coming in. Driftwood, AUFOC, nice to see you. And anybody else? Robert Redmonds, welcome to SOR Chat. Here we go, everybody.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott. Follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Facebook, Spaced Out Radio Show.
Here we go with hour number 2 of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Always appreciate earning your listening ears wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. Hi to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on Odyssey Radio, TalkStream Live, and KPNL. All of our archives are free. Join us at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. MERLE. MERLE is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. Here we go tonight. Our main man, Merle, from the Paranormal Road Trippers and Ghosts of the Great White North. All things paranormal tonight. We have a couple of special guests from Ghost Club Paranormal. We have Jade and Mandy joining us, talking about their hauntings that they have investigated in Southern California. Ladies, Merle, welcome back.
Thanks, Dave.
Thank you.
Hello.
Merle, take it away.
Attachments. Have either of you ever experienced the attachment?
Oh, I was
So
hoping
many.
it wasn't going to come up.
Jade, who's behind you?
No, don't
I'm
even,
kidding.
because it's difficult. We have experienced attachments, but it's what we were talking about, like that investigating in your own house and things like that. I had a lot of crazy stuff happen in my house when I first moved in here about a year and a half ago. It's difficult for me to talk about it inside my house, because I just don't want to speak it into existence again. But yeah, I had a very dark attachment, very, very, very dark. And it came from an abandoned location in California here. And I didn't believe in like demons or anything like that before this encounter. But whatever was happening was definitely affecting me emotionally, mentally, pretty much every way you can think. I was in a really happy time of my life. I shouldn't have been feeling those things. I was exactly where I wanted to be in life. And I actually investigated the Torture Museum on Hollywood Boulevard.
Oh,
And then I went to Follows Camp, which is where I believe I got the attachment. But I done those 2 investigations in one day, so who knows? Maybe it was just too
Hmm.
much. But the Torture Museum's crazy. It's got a lot of real, genuine torture devices. They let you like sit on the electric chair and everything.
jeez.
Yeah, so I mean, I could have easily got an attachment from there. Man, do you want to talk about yours, preferably?
Sure. I've had 3 pretty big attachments over the years. I've had a lot of spirits and things follow me home after investigations, but they don't always stay very long. In terms of attachments, I've definitely had 3, 2 of which I had to get exercised out of me. So I'm not, I'm very familiar with the attachments. The last 2 ones I picked up from investigations. My very first attachment, I actually believe, was all thought manifestation. I think I created it, which was really interesting because it wasn't until I had the realization. I came face to face with my first attachment, and I had the realization that I was like, "You're not real. Like, I created you." And as soon as that happened, it was gone. And I never dealt with it after that. But the last 2 I picked up, and I carried those 2 attachments for about a year or 2 each.
Cool.
And it wasn't until about halfway through that I realized that I had it. I just didn't really, I don't know. When you have them, sometimes it's easier to just deny it and be like, no, this isn't happening. This isn't happening to me. I'm just going to move on. But then it gets to a point where you do have to acknowledge it and get help to, get rid of it. So I actually just got rid of one in January in the lovely island of Kauai. I went and saw my dear, dear friend and mentor, April Nicole, who is a very skilled and seasoned native shamanic healer. And she does entity removals. And so she helped me get rid of it. And I feel so much better up until our last investigation, where the witch that we encountered at the witch's tower decided to follow me home and scare me so bad. So now I've been dealing with that, but I don't think she's here to stay long. So
Well, we've been having a lot of weird things happen this past week since our last investigation at the witch's tower. And we're still trying to figure it out. I don't believe it's an attachment that we have from the witch's tower. But I do definitely believe that something's trying to mess with us, and something's even possibly trying to get us to go back. That's the vibe that I'm getting from it anyway.
yes.
That's the weirdest feeling. Like when you get the overpowering urge to go back to places.
Yes.
Almost, I don't use the word infatuated, but close to
Yeah.
like you need to go back. Watching that,
Yes.
actually watched that episode of you guys at the Witch's Tower. And man, you got taken through the ringer on that one. That's for sure. I kind of appreciated Jade not telling you where you're going till you're there. That was pretty good. Surprise.
Yeah, that was the
Surprise.
first time that we've like really properly done that. Usually Mandy does know where we're going. But no, I wanted to put her to the test.
And
No, I
for our
just know
listener- Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was just gonna say, like, I know Mandy's abilities. Like, I've seen them for myself. You should honestly see my house when Mandy comes over to stay the night before an investigation. That's the only time I get activity in my house. It's bizarre. Like, I'm very, very aware of Mandy's gifts. But I really wanted to just show people how spot on you can be with some of these things. And we're actually working on a part 2 right now that we just decided was happening today. because we were able to. I'll just say it here. I wasn't gonna say anything, but there was a deceased woman found on top of the pentagram at the Witches Tower, and it's a very, very sad story. And it's all captured on camera. And it was these three brothers. They heard singing coming from the top of the tower, and they're not paranormal investigators or anything like that. They're just locals. And it was nighttime, so they went to go up to the tower. As they walked up to the tower, the singing stopped. And I believe they walked away from the tower, and then they heard the singing coming from the tower again. So they go back to the tower. When they got to the top, there was a woman face down on top of the pentagram. And there was some other weird occult things around at the time. So they called the police, and obviously they never really got any answers, though. Apparently, they tried to reach out to the police multiple times, email, phone calls, and was trying to ask, what happened with that. And they wouldn't say anything about it. They've never gotten back to them. And I know that now because one of the brothers reached out to me, and he really, I don't think that he's went back to that location, but him and the brothers want to go back to that location with us. And it would be really cool to have them kind of go through what that night was like, unsolved mysteries. It is a mystery. And if we
100%.
could get some sort of answer through our investigation, especially with these three guys, they're not investigators. I don't even know if they really believe in the paranormal. But it would be really cool to get them in on some experiments and kind of see if anything sparks, see if we get any answers.
Yeah.
Why go back? Why go and put yourself in that situation where it's not only a haunted place, but now a crime scene?
Well, yes, that infatuation thing. It's, I've not been able to stop thinking about that investigation all week. We have other investigations to do. We have other episodes to put out, a lot of other places that we need to research, but it's that place. I don't know what it is. And also, it's curiosity as well, to take these three brothers back to this night where nobody knows anything about this death. They're the only people that witnessed this body. Maybe that will spark something. If she was there in spirit, she's going to know who they are. And she's surely going to have something to say to them. We don't know. We're just experimenting. That's all that we can do. And hopefully she gets, the answers, and hopefully that can kind of like release her from that location if she is still at that location. Curious to see. But other than that, there's weird things going on there. Lots of people summoning things, doing rituals there. And a lot of people in the comments were telling me that they've been there, and there's things that hang from the trees, like little objects or sage bundles. And we never went round the trees. Just a lot of strange stories popping up right now. And yeah, just need to look into it more. I don't think we got we just dipped our toe into it in the first investigation.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Now, for our listeners, what is the Witches Tower? Like, what's the history on it? I think everyone should go watch your episode, obviously after our interview, and because it's a really good one. But for our listeners, what is it?
It's honestly, nobody really knows what the building there is. Again, it's such a mystery. I love it. Like, that's why I want answers, is because there really isn't much about it. Some people say that there is a plaque on there for Sylvester Patty. He was the first he was the first American to be buried in Californian soil. So a lot of people say that that's like a monument erected for him. But at the same time, I don't know why it has a pentagram in bricks. It's like laid in concrete and bricks on top of it. And then other people say that this building goes 4 stories down and was used for satanic practices, occult rituals, things of that sort of nature. And I'll like anybody who lives in that area, like if it's open, it's in a park, it's in a Presidio Park in San Diego. If you go there, if you go to the top of the tower, you instantly feel sick, nauseous, and you start to burn up. Apparently there's been possessions there. There's these like crosses that are on every single step going leading up to the tower. And from my experience from doing investigations in the UK, these like they're almost like witch markings, and those would be placed there if exorcisms were done. Markings would be placed around the area, whether that's a room, if it's inside a room, or in this case, the tower, the steps leading up to the tower. They get placed there to keep something in. So if there's an exorcism that's being done on top of that tower, it would keep that entity inside. And that's why when you get to the top, you feel nauseous, you feel dizzy, like things are going on that you can't explain. People also say that there's been possessions that happened up there. So I don't know. These are all things that we're going to need to really dig a little bit deeper into. And a good place to start is the locals, the people that grew up there, have ancestors there. That's why we're trying to pull them into the mix.
Yeah, that's the best way to do it. I think getting the locals vibes, getting the interviews from like people that actually live there or have lived it is the best way to tell the story of that location.
Yeah.
And like for Mandy, for you to go to a place like that, being a medium, how do you detox from that? Like you do the investigation, you go home, but especially if there's negative energy, what do you do to rid that?
You know, it's been a learning process because I've found that what used to work in the past doesn't quite work as well anymore. And that
Mhm.
happens like as you change and grow, especially as a medium and somebody like me who does communicate with lower level and non-human entities. Um, it changes as you learn and grow through it. And so I'm actually in this weird transition where haven't quite figured out what works at this moment, because I would say probably sometime late last year, I realized that my normal methods of detoxifying were not working. So I've been in this weird transitional phase for the last few months of trying to find what works. Um, and I've had to really step up my game in terms of the who I work with in the spiritual realm. So if you believe in that, I do work a lot with angels. I also work with aliens, and so I've had to really kind of like shift what I
There's
know.
the
I know.
face.
There it is. There it
Time out.
is.
Time out. Old Dave's going to come in here for a second. Tell me about these aliens. I love me some
Told you that would
aliens.
happen. I told you.
Okay. So, long story short, I am okay, I don't even know where to start. So, I personally believe that I am an alien myself. I have very vivid memories of where I come from and the home planet that I am from. I know some people are probably rolling their eyes, but I very, very clearly recall how I became, like how I got to my planet and how I got here. I have two guides that I work with who are aliens, and then I have two other guides who are interchangeable. So they change between angel and alien, which I do believe it can happen. So I communicate with them and I do work with them in my practices, which is really crazy. Not all the time, but certain scenarios, they do need to come out and help out. So it's been a weird process over the years figuring that one out and having those downloads from them.
Where are you from? Where are you from?
Like my home planet or like my galaxy. I'm from the Andromeda galaxy. And do you want to? Oh my God! Can I share the story? Can I share? The
Hell
story?
yes, you can.
Okay,
You got 5
okay.
minutes.
Okay, 5 minutes. I can do it. Okay.
All right, Jade, we're done. We're done.
Sorry.
I'm kidding.
That's all, folks.
Okay, so this all came to me very over the course of a couple weeks. It was a very vivid recollection, and I was like, "Oh my God, I'm remembering who I am." I was a child during Lumeria. And this is going to sound crazy. I was a child during Lemuria. And when the wars started to break out, I was sent underground with thousands of other children. And I remained underground for a really, really long time. I was in a pod. I don't know if anyone's ever heard this story before, but their children were sent underground during the time of Lemuria, and they were kept in pods to keep them safe, to keep their abilities. They didn't want to lose what they had created with these children. I was one of those children, and I was underground for a really long time. When I came, I was taken out by aliens from the Andromeda Galaxy. They came down and retrieved some of these pods out of the ground. I was taken out and brought up to my galaxy. My angel, Annalisa, she is actually an alien who I work with. She's been my protector from the Andromeda Galaxy planet era. And she's been working with me ever since and keeping me safe while I'm here. So that's like the shortened version of that story. The only problem is that there is, I've essentially been taunted my whole life by another alien race. I don't know who they are, but I can feel when they are near. It is extremely uncomfortable. My whole body reacts to it, and they stand outside my window and they watch me. I truly believe that they have been trying to, what's the word? I don't even know if abduct is the right word for it, but I truly believe that they have been wanting to take me in some form. But thankfully, I have such a good team of protectors.
May I interrupt a second?
Yes, please.
Dark, tall, cloaked black figures.
Oh, I almost cussed there. I'm so sorry. Oh my gosh. I never put that one together. Really? You think so?
That's what came to me.
Oh boy.
He's
You're
an alien
okay.
guy. Yeah.
You're okay.
Oh my gosh.
Well, that creeps me out because me and Mandy, like, we originally actually, the first day that we really hung out, we done that first investigation together. We talked a lot about our alien stories and UFO stories, and we have very similar experiences. That I've never really met anybody else who have had any sort of experiences like that. And yeah,
It's cool you guys share that though. Like how you guys met and you share the similar experiences.
When's the last time you were on a craft?
Which one?
Mandy? Oh, I've never been abducted. Let me just put that out there. My dad has, for sure. But I have not.
Oh yeah, her dad
We joke
has.
that I'm like half alien because he definitely has alien children, for sure.
Yes.
Oh
my God.
but
Share the story. Share the story.
I don't think do we have enough time in this segment? We only have a couple minutes left.
We got 90 seconds. 90
Yeah,
seconds.
90 seconds. I can't tell the story in 90 seconds. That's
Well,
going to
you
have
can
to be
tell-
for
you
another
can
day.
tell it when we come back.
Yeah, I'll tell it when I come back. But
It's
we
a
have
wild story.
many alien stories.
Back to you for a second, Mandy. Have you seen the
Yes.
ones that are haunting you out your window?
So that's the crazy part. I've never actually seen them, or at least that I know of. And so that's what I've talked about with Jade, is that I don't know. So I remember very blatantly as a kid being just absolutely terrified of leaving my window open and leaving my blinds open because I felt like aliens were going to get me. And I don't know if that fear came from already being abducted and subconsciously I that, or if I just had experiences from my home planet that has made me fearful of them. I really do not know. And ever since then, they come periodically, and it is just the most bizarre feeling. And I'll tell Jade, I'll be like, I had that. It happened last night, and I get that. It's a whole body reaction. I'm like, oh my God, they're here, they're near, they're watching. It's gonna be a long night. I gotta shut the window. I gotta close the blinds. I gotta sleep on the other side of the bed because I'm terrified. It's so weird.
I bought you a nightlight for Christmas, though. Has that been helping?
You did. I take that thing with me everywhere.
It's awesome.
Ladies, we got you for another half an hour. Jade and Mandy from Ghost Club Paranormal. We may slip into a few more aliens here in the next half hour, but hey, it's my show. We can do what we want here. Merle is also here for the Paranormal Road Trippers out of Vancouver, British Columbia. We love it when the Merle is here. Goes to the Great White North. We do it each and every month, talking all things paranormal. Sometimes we take the turn down alien lane. You have to. Us experiencers have to stick together. Spaced Out Radio continues right after this. Stay tuned. Yeah, when you were talking about that, I got cloaked back black figures.
That's
I
really
know
interesting.
I know who they are. You're okay.
Okay, so this is, I didn't know if we had enough time, but this is why I was saying, like, that freaked me out when you said tall, cloaked black figures. Because remember my ghost story that I told you guys about?
Yeah.
With the cloaked black figure? Like, that weirded me out. Because mine and Mandy's experiences are pretty similar.
I will say this. I hate talking about this on the air, but I'll say this. I have 2 bodyguards on the other side.
Okay.
That are, if you look at Orion's belt, there is a real, very faint star below the kind of in between the bottom 2 of the belt, and that's where they come from.
Oh.
And their heads are amazing.
I love that.
They're like a glass ball with that type of flame inside.
Whoa.
Yeah.
What color are they? Do they have a color?
They just wear black cloaks. They're about 10 feet tall each.
Oh, okay.
Oh, 10 feet tall? That's tall.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're tall.
And they're massive. Like they're built like football players, offensive linemen. Not more like defensive linemen because they're in better shape.
Oh.
And
that's interesting.
They are massive. And I've never seen them. I've only seen them with the hoods off, and they're black, but they're always wearing this black cloak.
And where do you see them about?
I just call them in.
That's interesting that you say black cloak, because my alien wears a purple cloak. I've never heard anybody else reference their people wearing cloaks like that. Which is interesting.
I wonder if the colors mean something then.
Oh, there goes Blob. There goes Blob.
No.
Move the camera, Filth. We need more Blob. Damn it, Blob just jumped off the desk. Blob's gone. We've lost Blob. Yeah, I've had some issues prior where I can just summon them in and they go and take care of it.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm similar with Mandy. It's the experience that I've had, the experiences that I've had have been very scary. Like very scary. Different from paranormal investigating for sure. I don't know, there's a very, very uneasy, because I know that it's not typical paranormal activity. It's like when they visit, it's like they're visiting, hide kind of thing. Yeah. Which is weird because I'd like to think if aliens came down to Earth today, I would be the first person in that ship. But when those moments happen, specifically lights, I've seen a lot of UFOs, real crafts, but it's the lights that follow me that I cannot.
Interesting.
They scare the living daylights out of me.
Do you ever feel the gravitational pull?
No,
They take you.
no.
I got that 2 weeks ago.
So what is that?
Wait, do you ever feel the what?
Like a gravitational pull, like you're being sucked away by gravity.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
All the time. It's awful.
No.
I hate
Oh,
that
that's
feeling.
strange.
I'm going to be honest. I damn well hate that feeling. Hate it.
Yes.
And it's like, oh God, here we go again. But the last time
Right.
was good. The last time was good.
Oh, in what
And
way? Like,
they did something to both me and the first time ever I had my dad there.
Wow.
And they did something to my dad as well. And
oh,
it was a good thing. It was a good thing. And I actually, Merle, you know, in my bedroom, the window that looks over the patio.
Yep.
Yeah, I knew they were standing behind me and I was afraid to turn, but I lifted my head up to look and I saw the beam of light come down. Boop. And then they were gone.
Dang.
Awesome. Hold on. We're up in 7 seconds. Thank you to Jennifer, Jake, and Louie for the super chats. And here we go, everybody. Here we go with the second half of Spaced Out Radio tonight. Who's got a little bit of aliens out there? You do. I do. Andy and Jade do, too. We'll get to that momentarily on Ghosts of the Great White North. But first, want to remind you, if you've missed portions of this show or others, check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot. Read the Newswire. Check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. Here we go with Merle, final half hour of Ghosts of the Great White North this month. He's from the Paranormal Road Trippers out of Vancouver, British Columbia, and Jade and Mandy from the California group Ghost Club Paranormal. We are hanging on out, and we just found out right before the break, Mandy and Jade, they got some aliens. Yeah, they got some aliens.
yes.
You never go wrong with the little aliens. You really don't. Jade, what's your story? You've been taken.
Yeah, my first alien craft that I ever saw, I was, again, pretty young, and I remember it was in Edinburgh, again, where everything seems to happen. And my mom was driving in the car and I was sitting in the back, and I actually had I remember it so specifically. I had a Barbie doll in my hand and I was brushing her hair. It was straight up like something out of a movie. And it was late at night. And I remember we're going around, it's kind of like a big donut, like right before you get on a freeway type road. So we're going around this donut and we're the only car on the road. And I look over to my right and I see there's the woods were right up against the road. And they went out very far. And I just saw this silver circle craft. It was very typical what you would think what a craft would look like. You got a little bump on top, and then you've got kind of the rim, and then the little, almost like little lights, like blue lights all the way around it. And it lit up the tops of the trees, and it was almost like it was landing, and it was going down. And this was fairly close. I would maybe say it was maybe a quarter mile out or something like that. It was close. And it was landing, and you could see the trees moving out the way. And I remember seeing it, staring at it for a few seconds, getting so scared that I looked away and drove the entire way home in silence. We got home about 10 minutes later. And the second we didn't speak to each other, me and my mom, we get out the car, go straight into the house. And then I shut the door and I start locking the locks. There was a few locks and she was looking at me like I was crazy. And I was like, what do we do? And she was like, what are you talking about? What are you doing? And I'm like, you didn't see that? And she didn't see it the entire time. Her eyes were obviously, now I understand, focused on the road. And because we were making a left turn, I was looking to my right. and she just never saw it. And I still to this day, I do not know how she never saw it. Ever since then, been obsessed with aliens. I used to cut out in the newspapers. I remember there was one aliens scene in Edinburgh, and there was pictures of these little 3 alien greys, and I cut it out with scissors, and I would sleep with it underneath my pillow every night. And my brother would freak out. He would always like be telling on me, like, "Mom, Jade's sleeping with the aliens again. It's freaking me out." But again, it just sparked my curiosity. But the blue lights is the biggest thing, and I don't know much about this. If somebody could explain this, this is something that has been happening my entire life. That yeah, I would love some insight into this. But there's these blue lights that follow me, and they kind of give off like a blue LED, excuse me, kind of glow to them, but they're not coming from above and they're not coming from below like a flashlight. It's not like they're shining on the ground, and it's not like they're shining in the sky. It's almost like they're trapped in a big bubble, and it's just the lights coming from inside, and then like the bubble pops and then it just disappears. And this happened to me. I saw these all the time in Scotland. Other people had seen them in Scotland with me. And then when I moved to America, when I was 20 years old, I started seeing them here in the US as well. And that's when I reached out to like a alien specialist. I don't want to say his name just in case he's like more well known. I don't know, but he said that he was one of the original people who worked on the Area 51 documentary, the very first Area 51 documentary.
Oh, wow.
So I trusted this guy. He had never seen a picture of me or anything. I tell him my experiences, and he says over the phone, he says, "Have you got auburn hair and auburn eyes?" And that freaked me out, because I have auburn hair and auburn eyes. And obviously the blonde is bleached. But that really freaked me out. He was like, there's a specific type of person that they go for. And that freaked me out so much. It really, really did. He only gave me a little bit. He never gave me any like real answers to what these blue lights are. But there have been times where I've been asleep in bed, woke up, walked straight up to my window for no reason whatsoever, look out the window, blue lights, and then gone.
Wow.
And it gives me anxiety, a lot of anxiety.
The blue lights are like LED blue, but like a police light blue, but not the same as a police light blue, a little bit darker and a little brighter.
I would say a little brighter.
Yeah. When I saw the UFO landing in 2014, I had a giant blue cylinder, probably 30 feet, 20 to 30 feet tall, on the ground 150 yards away from me at night. And I will never forget that blue. It's a blue that I've only seen it in a couple of photographs, and there is an image of a blue that is in Hawaii, when they had a blue UFO go from the sky flying around and then dashed into the water below, and they caught it on camera. And that's the only time I've seen that blue since.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's interesting, the blues as well, though, like the colors to it. I was just wondering if anybody knew like the color codes. I don't know if there's like different codes for the colors, extraterrestrial colors. But it's the blue lights, and I feel like
it's interesting.
Good. I don't know, but that's the vibe I get.
Blue is usually like, at least so like my people are blue, and that's because they're Andromedan, and that's usually the color that they show themselves. As far as lights, I don't know, but I know that different alien races have different appearances and colors to them. So I don't know, maybe it's related, or maybe it's just something completely separate. It's so hard to say.
Whatever it is, it's terrifying. Like, I feel like I'm pretty brave. I'm not trying to pop my own bubble, but like, I feel like I'm pretty brave. This is, we do paranormal investigations for a living. And
Yeah.
it's the alien thing, the lights. That's what really gets me. Lights. We've seen much creepier things, and it still doesn't give me that absolutely just burning up feeling of dread. That's the best word for it, is dread. Almost
The
like
dread.
I know something's about to happen. I know that something really bad is about to happen, but I don't know. It's weird.
That's all right. You
Yeah.
know what? You still got some aliens. That's all that really matters. That's all that
I have a
really matters.
question for all three of you, though. So, somebody that has never actually experienced an alien, I may have seen a craft above the Wolf Creek Lodge in Oregon.
Hmm.
It was like a black triangle and it was silent. Then it kind of just went away. But for somebody who's never ever had an experience and wants one, because like I believe I'm open to it. Like I was telling you guys earlier how I went to Spokane, did the CE5 experiment in an alien hotbed area. How does one call upon an alien or aliens to experience them? Or do you have
That's
to be a
maybe
chosen one?
that's maybe a better question for Mandy.
No,
I still
because
don't fully understand it.
honestly, I don't know if it's something that, okay, this might sound, I don't know if it's something that just everyone can experience. Does that make sense? Like, I still don't know for sure, so I can't really comment on it, but um it doesn't hurt to try and ask for it. And I mean, honestly, the best way is to do that under the night sky, right?
Mhm.
I think personally, outdoors under the night sky would be the best way to call upon it. I know a lot of people, I've actually done, the lasers and gotten things back and things like
Oh,
that.
cool. Okay.
Or, but that's hard. I don't know. Dave, do you have any take on that? I'm curious to hear if you.
Yes. Well, first off, Merle's lying to you a little bit here.
What?
He's
Merle.
Merle doesn't
Merle.
lie. Merle doesn't lie. When did I see an alien? Oh, crap. Yeah. Okay, guys, I've seen one. Disregard my question.
Well, now you need to explain yourself.
Oh, no, Dave
Merle,
needs to explain
spilled the
himself.
beans. You spilled the beans, Merle.
Are we talking about the forest?
Yeah. I got to keep this story short because we can't really go into full detail. Okay. But last summer, we got tipped off by a Sasquatch that there was an alien and a UFO in between us.
Where?
Hold on.
Because me and Mandy, we want to do an episode like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, not until ours comes out. That's for sure.
Oh my gosh.
No, there's an area like I can actually say it. We're not allowed to talk about it right now. No, just kidding. But no, we did a little bit of filming in August, and we were going with the I was going with the intent for ghosts and paranormal. It was a site of trauma in the middle of nowhere, grizzly country, British Columbia. It was very remote, and there's also a lot of Sasquatch sightings up there. So maybe we'll see a ghost, or will we see Sasquatch, or who knows what we'll see. And what turns out is we took a right turn, like we did with the aliens tonight, and it was big alien night. We saw, or they saw, aliens in the sky.
I called that in, by the way.
Okay. And it was really cool. So
Merle, sorry, let me interrupt there for a second.
yeah.
Merle had me under the Estes method, and I was getting nothing. Okay, no voices, nothing. But while I'm wearing the blindfold, I keep getting blinded by this bright white orb right here. And I'm explaining it that it's so bright, I'm actually closing my eyes, okay, to try and block that white orb. And at the same time, they point the camera up above us, and here's a bright white orb coming down.
Whoa.
towards us.
What? Oh, I just got
That's
chills.
interesting.
Did I mention Dave's got aliens?
If you guys want to do a good alien episode, come up here and I'll take you up to Dave's area. It is like, because you have so many experiences, but we also have a friend named Samantha Mowat who, man, he sounds very similar to you with the alien experiences and basically a lot of the things you've said. You guys are basically like sisters. And she works closely with Dave and I. And damn, but when those two are together, it's alien time. And I just watch them do their thing, and it's kind of it's interesting to see.
Oh, she might be from the same pod as you, Mandy.
I want
She's-
alien time with friends.
All right, well,
No, we'll definitely make something happen because, again, me and Mandy have been talking about this for a real long time. There's still so much that I don't understand, even though I've had my own experiences. But there's like Mandy as well. There's so much to her and her alien journey as well that I've not even heard all of. So I just think that it would be cool. I think that we should just like throw people off a little bit on our channel and just be like, you know
Yes.
what? Aliens. A whole month of aliens.
Merle and I have the place that will literally. I don't get scared. Okay, I don't get scared much. I don't know if I will ever go back to that place at night again.
Whoa.
dude, we're
I've
doing the
been
tent thing. We're taking tents and we're going up
No
there.
freaking way we're taking tents up
I'm
there.
taking tents up there. I'm
I
going
am not
alone.
taking a tent. You go and you have fun.
You know,
Okay. And when we can't find you the next day, okay, I will be I'm gonna be giving you a fist pump to the sky saying I told you so.
you'll find my SD card and you'll make a great found footage. That's what.
And then we'll capitalize on it.
Yes. Take the money and run.
I'm telling you, this place is freaky at night. It is scary. Like when we were there, we actually saw Merle call in. We don't know what the heck it was, whether it was a 6-7 foot tall shadow being or something else. Merle asked it to pull down one of our glow sticks on the tree. This is about 11 o'clock. What, about 11 o'clock at night, Merle?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And we're like, where we are, it is pitch black. There's no light. Like we're 25 miles into the forest. Okay. There's no light. There's no electricity, nothing. And when I saw that glow stick, Merle asked whatever was out there to pull down the glow stick from the tree. And the glow, you see this big shadow being run through the green glow of the glow stick, and you see the glow stick all of a sudden come down the tree about a foot.
Oh, that's terrifying.
Yeah, that was
straight up terrifying.
Yeah, that was kind of cool.
Yeah,
that was kind of cool.
Kind of
Yeah.
cool.
It wasn't bad, you know. It was all right.
But you know, the second night we were there, it was different, Merle. I mean, when we were set up and doing our thing and investigation at night, we knew we were being watched. We knew. Not only did we have that incident earlier on in daytime, okay, but that night, when you hear things move in the middle of the forest and those sounds are not on the ground, they are higher up, like 6, 7, 10 feet up in a tree. Okay. Yes, it could be an owl. Yes, it could be a bobcat or a cougar or something along those lines. But when the sounds go from the ground level on up, and it's only like 20, 30 feet around you, it's just out of your vision in the darkness. That's where things got really weird.
Yeah.
Really
Oh, yeah.
weird. And this was happening all around us. All around us. It was crazy.
No, and it's interesting that you say all around us because I've had 2 alien experiences in Virginia City. One of which was in Virginia City. The other one was at Nevada State Prison, which is in Carson City, right next to it. And Nevada State Prison gets alien visitations all the time. They actually have photos of what looks like aliens inside the prison. And that was the one time where I actually felt surrounded by aliens. And it was the weirdest thing I've ever experienced. And we were inside of a building. And again, my body went into that mode of like, they're here, like I can feel them. And all of a sudden, all around us, noises, voices, footsteps. I mean, it was a full circular thing. And me and the owner of the prison and my other teammate, we just looked at each other and we're like, oh my God, this is not happening right now. Like they're coming, and you could hear them walking along the roof. And it was so scary, but so cool, you know, because it's like, what an experience to have.
Well, you know what's weird about the Nevada State Prison is in their kitchen, they have this one door, and it's like a walk-in freezer. Is it, Mandy? It's like a big walk-in freezer or something like that, but it's locked. And ever since they got the keys to the prison, it's remained locked. That was the only door that didn't have a key to it. But that being said, they believe that there's actually a portal in that freezer area because so many pictures of full aliens have been captured, because it's got a window in the middle and you can see like a full gray alien on the other side. There's been a few pictures like that, and I'm like, come on, like I'll pay for the locksmith. Okay. I just want to.
What do we have to do?
I don't know how you could have that prison for so many years and never open that door, knowing fine well that there are these extraterrestrial beings coming through a portal on the other side. You know, it's
adds to the mystery that is the prison.
But one of the main things there are they do say that the aliens, a lot of people have experienced aliens walking on the roof, and it's very, very, very clear. It's very spooky.
What scares me if it's like the movie Signs, because I think that would terrify me.
Yeah. Well, we had the person that we were investigating with, we had him under Estes. So, you know, the headphones hooked up to the spirit box. It's like a sensory deprivation, so you can't see anything. And all of a sudden, the spirit box made a very strange noise. We've never heard it again. That was the first time we heard it, and we've never heard it since, basically. And it made a very high pitch frequency. And it went super, super loud, and we could hear it on the other side of the room. And then all of a sudden, he just says, "I'll open your face." And we were like, but he was talking about planets. He was talking about aliens. All this stuff was coming through. And then he just went, "I'll open your face." And we were like, get him out of there right now. But it sounded like an alien was trying to communicate with him and like trying to be like, it was so spooky, guys. Like alien stuff. You think, okay, yeah, I can't. I can't even talk about it anymore. It freaks me out.
Yeah, one time at my house, speaking of the movie Sun, one time at my house, my alien friend Carl came back, and I went up on my patio, and I am listening to, remember the conversation that they picked up with the baby monitor?
Oh yeah.
I have that going from my backyard up my driveway, and I'm listening to a conversation happening. Oh yeah.
No.
Oh yeah.
No. Yeah. Done.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's fun. We got about 1 minute to go here before we have to say goodnight, and this was so much fun, Merle. Thank you so much for bringing on both Jade and Mandy from Ghost Club Paranormal. Jade, do me a favor. Tell everybody where they can find your channel and your work.
So it's Ghost Club Paranormal on all platforms, YouTube, Instagram, and also TikTok. Yeah.
Excellent. And Merle, where can they find Paranormal Road Trippers?
The Paranormal Road Trippers on YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram.
Well, way to take the time to do that.
You know,
I've just hit subscribe at Ghost Club Paranormal.
Yay.
So
Yes. We
yes,
just
they
hit
are.
50,000 subscribers, so
I know. I'm
happy about
excited.
that.
You know my excitement about getting close to 25,000. Then
Yes, exactly. Big milestone for sure.
is a big milestone, and we look forward. Hopefully, some of your friends come on over and help us out and subscribe to us if you like what we are doing. And I hope our radio audience comes over to YouTube and hit subscribe too. But Mandy, Jade, thank you. You ladies were absolutely wonderful tonight. Thank you for being on Spaced Out Radio. Merle, we'll catch you next month, but I'll chat with you much sooner than that. Ghost of the Great White North wrapping up for another month. We'll talk to our main man Merle in May, or make that March. Coming up next, Steve Stockton from Among the Missing. Then a great UFO report coming up with Courtney Marcassani. We will be right back on Spaced Out Radio for hour number 3. You ladies were amazing.
That was good.
Thank
Amazing.
you.
Thank you. This was so fun.
It was fun.
I love
Good.
podcasts where we can just talk, you know? It's
We're
great.
professionals.
Yeah, this is the radio, Mandy.
It's
Don't
different.
say podcast.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
We have done
Show.
Mhm.
we're so used to podcasts, but it is fun switching it up and
Now you see the difference.
oh yeah, for sure, for sure.
Totally.
Well, you ladies should come talk some aliens with us at our Reno fan party, May 10th through 12th.
That would be fun.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, we're always in that area. So
I'm
Come on
gonna
up.
be solo investigating actually Virginia City the 13th, May 13th to the 16th as well.
oh, we're gonna be May
Oh yeah, we're literally going the week May 4th.
before
Oh, before
Yeah.
that's awesome. Cool.
Oh, yeah.
on the week before, yeah. So
Then
like
you
we're
gotta come.
literally
You gotta come the week after too, because that's our fan
you
party.
know what? We could always spring it. Like,
Honestly. it's not
it's
that
all-
far.
Barrier Beyond might come investigate when I've been talking to them, so
Oh, we need to talk to Barry Beyond because they said that they were coming with us the week before too.
yeah.
But where do you plan on investigating?
I'm feeling it all out right now. I just got all my accommodations in order, and I'd like to do the Wash. I'd like to do Mackey Mansion. I'm gonna stay at the
Yeah.
Silver Queen.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's kind of where I'm thinking.
Yeah.
All right. I got to
Yeah.
run here, guys.
Cool.
We will chat with you all soon. See you in Reno. Merle, make sure they come to Reno for our fan party.
Yes.
We're gonna find some
Reno.
aliens.
Aliens.
We're gonna go looking for them damn aliens. We are.
Yep.
Yes, we are.
All right, guys. Take care.
All
Thank you
right.
for
Thank
coming.
you.
Bye. Nice
Bye.
meeting you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. All right, Merle. Catch you later, buddy. And that was a good show. A lot of fun. I'll be right back, everybody. Sit tight. All right. Courtney's in the hot seat. And Cosmic Joe, welcome to SOR. You're always welcome here. Philibacca, tone it down. Tone it down, you weirdo. Let's see who else is here. Peppa H, how you doing, buddy? Y Native and Matthew Gutka. Welcome. All right, big thank you to Jennifer, Anita, Jake, and Louie ×2 for the great super chats. So thank you for the love and support, everybody. Very much appreciate it. And yes, we want to see you all in Reno. Come to Reno. Courtney's coming to Reno. She's hanging out with us. She's ready to talk some aliens in Reno. She really is. Yeah, we got some good stories coming up here right after Steve Stockton and Among the Missing. And we got about 30 seconds before we go. That was a good show. That was a lot of fun. Just a natural conversation of weird and strange. Love it. Love it. God, I love doing this show. So much fun. All right, 10 seconds, everybody. Don't forget to shop at our Spaced Out Radio store. We do not have ugly swag, people. Let's make it happen. Here we go, everyone.
Would you like to connect with us? Head to spacedoutradio.com for all your latest show info. Now, back to Dave Scott and SOR.
Here we go with the third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. Good to have you with us. My name is Dave Scott. Always appreciate earning your listening ears wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. Hi to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on Odyssey Radio, TalkStream Live, and KPNL. All of our archives are free. Join us at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. MERLE. MERLE is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. Here we go. Ghost of the make that Steve Stockton from Among the Missing. See, I'm still thinking of Merle. Love the Merle time. Steve Stockton from Among the Missing is here for another spooky story.
Hello, friends. Welcome to Among the Missing YouTube channel on Spaced Out Radio. I'm Steve Stockton, and I'm about to take you on an unbelievable journey of people just like you. Their stories and encounters will haunt us on Among the Missing. Now, the mountain lion is a majestic feline species native to the Americas, known by several names such as cougar, puma, or catamount. It can be found in national parks from California to Texas. The mountain lion is a solitary and elusive predator that has fascinated the imagination for centuries. Still, its presence in national parks has recently sparked debates about its potential dangers to wildlife and park visitors. Mountain lions date back thousands of years, with these magnificent cats playing a significant role in the folklore and mythology of indigenous cultures across the Americas. Revered as symbols of power, agility, and mystery, mountain lions were often portrayed as spiritual beings, guardians, or tricksters. Mountain lions are carnivores that mainly prey on deer and eat small animals like porcupines, rabbits, squirrel, marmots, and skunks. Indigenous people recognize these apex predators' important role in maintaining ecosystem balance. The growth of recreational activities within national parks poses new challenges for wildlife management authorities and visitors. Instances of mountain lion attacks on humans are uncommon. However, when they do occur, the outcomes can be severe. The National Park Service suggests following these safety tips. Do not approach a mountain lion. Mountain lions will typically avoid confrontation and flee when given an escape route. Do not run from a mountain lion, as it may elicit its instinct to pursue. Instead, stand and face it while maintaining eye contact. If you have small children with you, try to pick them up so they don't panic and run away. While doing so, avoid bending over or turning away from the mountain lion, even if it feels awkward. This will help you appear larger and more intimidating, reducing the chances of an attack. It's not advisable to crouch down or bend over, as a human standing upright is not the ideal shape for a big cat's prey. On the other hand, a person who squats or bends over appears like a four-legged animal, which may attract a mountain lion. If you come across a mountain lion, make yourself look larger to avoid being attacked. You can do this by raising your arms and even opening your jacket if you're wearing one. Again, be sure to pick up any small children with you and throw stones, branches, or any other objects you can find without bending down or turning your back. The ultimate goal is to convince the mountain lion that you are not easy prey or that you pose a threat to it. If you are attacked, it is vital to fight back. In Southern California, a hiker was able to protect his son from a mountain lion attack by using a rock to defend himself. Other people have also been able to successfully fend off mountain lions using items such as sticks, caps, jackets, garden tools, and even their bare hands. As mountain lions typically try to bite their victim's head or neck, it is recommended that you remain standing and face the animal during an attack. If you spot a mountain lion, immediately report it to a park ranger. According to the Los Angeles Times, in July 2023, an 8-year-old boy survived what national park officials called an extraordinarily rare mountain lion attack in Olympic National Park, leading to camper evaluations and several trail closures as experts searched for the animal. Park officials received reports that a child had been attacked by a mountain lion while camping with his mother at Lake Angeles in the heart of the hills area. The cougar casually abandoned its attack after being yelled and screamed at by the child's mother, park officials said. The child sustained minor injuries and was taken to a nearby hospital for medical attention, according to the Los Angeles Times. In September 2022, a woman survived a mountain lion attack while trail running with a friend on the Pipeline Trail in Mill Creek Canyon, according to the Salt Lake Tribune. As the mountain lion approached, the woman closest to it attempted to retreat, but the animal pounced on her. She lost her footing and fell backward, and the big cat scratched her, causing 2 puncture wounds on her right leg, according to Faith Jolly, a spokesperson for the Utah Division of Wildlife Resources. The other runner hit the big cat with a rock, and the 2 women were able to get away and hike down the trail together. The pair then called 911. First responders examined the woman's wounds, and then her friend took her to a nearby hospital. According to spokesperson Jolly, the woman was in stable condition, and her wounds were not life-threatening.
Thank you to Steve Stockton from Among the Missing for another great encounter with some strange, creepy cryptids. Well, I guess a cougar really isn't cryptid, but be careful of them. They're kind of dangerous. They really are. If you want more stories from Steve, just go to his YouTube channel, youtube.com/Among the Missing, and make sure that you check it on out and hit subscribe and ring that bell. From the missing to the mysterious, let's talk some UFOs. It's a UFO report with Courtney Marcassani.
Nobody's going to know. They're going to know.
Always good to have Courtney Marcassani on the UFO report. Thank you so much for being here, my friend. How you doing?
Hey, I'm good. I have a whole lineup. I wrote notes and everything. There's so much to discuss. I don't want to miss anything. I don't want to miss a beat.
Well, let's start off because, we like them alphabet people. So let's start off by saying hello to all the alphabet agents and agencies out there listening in tonight. Give us a call sometime. We don't need to give you our number because you already have it. But give us a call sometime and say hello. We'd appreciate the love. Appreciate the love back.
Thank you, Patriots. We thank you, Patriots.
Exactly. We got some interesting news tonight. Lou Elizondo, who's been quiet for a long time, apparently called in to a good friend of ours, Thomas Fessler's Disclosure Tonight, and was talking about his new book. Yeah. Lou Elizondo has a book coming out. I'm going to read here what it says. Now, this book is due out in November. I believe it is set for November 6, 2024. And here is the rundown of it. Lou Elizondo. The book is, I believe, going to be called Disclosure. As a civilian with high-level national security clearance, Elizondo is widely viewed as the world's most... Now, listen to this. Listen to what we've been telling you on Spaced Out Radio. Okay? And you'll figure it out. If you've been listening, you will figure this out. Elizondo is widely viewed as the world's most credible authority on UAP and UFOs. UAP and UFOs. Remember, we've been telling you that they're two different things over the time? Well, this is another statement that proves that. Anyways, he goes on to say, this memoir reveals groundbreaking, even shocking details of what Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program learned and the profound implications. Oh, feels so good to hear from him.
Well, and the Hollywood Reporter did another piece on it today. It's obvious his press people have just sent out, the media blitz to start it off, to start promotions. In the Hollywood Reporter, it says the memoir, quote, promises to reveal shocking, never before shared details regarding what Elizondo has learned about UFOs and the profound implications for humanity, all of which will escalate what is already a hot topic globally. Tell us something we don't already know. What do you think? I'm going to ask you right now. I'm going to put you in the hot seat. What do you think is going to be revealed that we don't already know? I mean, he's been dripping, information for 2 years now, essentially, about this book that he's got to wait. He's going to reveal. What are your top nuggets? What do you think that the book is going to reveal that everybody's been waiting for? Make a prediction.
My prediction is that he is going to come out as an experiencer, and he is going to come out with a very close encounter that he has had. Now, here's something you guys don't know about Elizondo. Sometimes, and the people who are close to me will know that sometimes I see things that they're almost like premonitions. And I had a very, very strong premonition one day, a couple of years ago, about Elizondo, that he had some sort of encounter, like Close Encounters of the Third Kind, right at the end of the movie. And I don't know if there were the hand signals, for do, 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 do. I don't know if it was, but I have a feeling that I don't think he's going to go into full detail of it, but I think that he's going to admit that he has been extremely close to UFO craft face to face.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good guess. That's a good call. That would be groundbreaking, because he has never, from what I understand, he's never come out on the record and said that he's an experiencer. I always thought that he was, from the Afghanistan experience when he was in the military. But I don't know that. That was just a conclusion that I drew from his story, from what I've heard of his experiences and his encounters.
Well, the one thing that I will say about this, when I first had him on Spaced Out Radio, I asked him point blank if he has ever encountered extra aliens. I've asked him point blank. And he danced around the question very beautifully. But if you read between the lines, he's basically telling you he's seen aliens.
I know 2 or 3 people who know him and have, the inside track, who ask him questions, and they all say, this is one of the things that they all say is very consistent, is that he is for disclosure 100%. He's still working on it. And that if you ask him questions, he's very guarded. He doesn't He doesn't give a lot away, but he will, if he can, answer questions in a straightforward manner. I have heard that about him, that if he can't answer it, he's a straight shooter about it, but he is for disclosure still, and he's still working on it. I think that he's going to talk about NHI. That's my prediction. I think that he's going to talk about NHI. He might not say that he believes that NHI exists, but I think he's going to lay out some facts from other testimony, because we know that. I mean, that's not a great leap. We know that other witness testimony is going to come out about NHI in the programs. So that's my guess.
I agree with you. I think it's going to do a lot more with extraterrestrials than it is going to do with anything else than what happened in Washington. We're going to get a lot of what happened in Washington. I think he's going to give his side of the ATIP program with Harry Reid, all the obvious stuff. But I think it has the possibility of being a bombshell book. Now, we've known about this book for a couple of years, Courtney, that it was coming.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's something I find very, very interesting. Talk behind the scenes, and I was talking to Nicole Sackich about this right before the show.
Okay.
And I've mentioned it on the air a few times in just guests, but it seems like all of these bigwigs in the UFO field have somebody from the UK who we call the Brits.
The Brits. I know about the Brits.
Okay, you know about the Brits.
I have a Brit.
Well, we all have Brits. We all got aliens, and we all have a Brit. Okay,
They laugh at us though when we say that we have Brits. They laugh at us. You know that, right? That they think it's a joke.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I remember talking
that by saying they think we're silly. The Brits.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and what's funny is Vinny Adams, who's a great podcaster in the UFO world, he was killing himself laughing over that, killing himself. But nonetheless, I find it very interesting that Elizondo's publisher on this is from the UK and not the United States. I find that I want to ask him that question. Why go with a British publication or publisher rather than an American publisher? Maybe it's more money. I don't know. Maybe he got paid in euros. I don't know.
I think to some degree with the Brits, this is just a guess. I don't know but this is just one of the things I think about is why some of this stuff. Why are there so many powerful players that are outside the U.S. that are shaping things like policy in the U.S.? Because there's powerful people that have been moving and shaking. You can look at the Liberation Times. They're not U.S. They're getting data and information from people all over. They're not necessarily, U.S. based. And so I think that it's interesting that a lot of this stuff gets outsourced outside the U.S. to push back on U.S. power centers and power points. And I wonder about that. Why does it have to come from, why Ross Coulthart, an Australian journalist, is the one who was able to get the News Nation interview, right, with David Grush? You have to ask yourselves, why are these outside international people putting so much pressure on the U.S.? And they're getting people to take action. So I think it's interesting. And I think people should all ask themselves why. Why is that the case? Similar to Lou, why does he have to have a UK publisher?
I think that's an all-important question right there. I think it's a massively important question, and it's something that we need to figure out, and I don't know if we will. And I even look at what's happening here in Canada regarding this story and the way that they're playing the game. And I'm hearing from sources within Canada that they feel that the reports and everything that's happening in Ottawa regarding this subject is getting a little too dangerous and off topic because they are sourcing out a lot of their information from the American government. And
Well,
it
I want
is
to know more. I think this linchpin that you're talking about is the Sky Canada project. I want to know more about it. They made a public statement on their website that I brought in tonight for the news. The OCSA is gathering information from federal departments and agencies, stakeholders, and other organizations on how they handle UAP observations reported by the public. We plan to compare the Canadian approach with that of other countries. So there you have it. Following an internal analysis, we will assess the current processes and recommend ways to improve the Canadian approach. So I wanted to ask you about that and your audience too, about the Canadian approach and relying on other governments, because here you also have the European Union, right? This just broke yesterday or the day before. Members of the European Parliament, Francisco Guerrero, has urged the European Union to gather and evaluate data concerning unidentified anomalous phenomena. So they're asking the EU now to start doing data collection. So you see this international effort, but everybody has pretty much been looking at the US this whole time, trying to put pressure on the US to say what they know. So I do think there's going to be some competition here. And you've heard that from people in the community saying, well, the US should step up and lead the way. And if they don't, other countries are going to. But then there's a lot of people that saying the EU is going to do what the US is doing, right? Because they are already leading the way. So we'll see what happens. In the National Archives, I saw that some records are starting to be released already from the NDAA. So that's also something that's exciting that's happening. I noticed that the Japanese airliner case, there was more data put into that file. So I thought you might be interested in that. I put it on Twitter for you to pick up on it, that the Japanese case, the 1986 case, was updated with air traffic controller information. So that might be also interesting, that the US will be putting out more data through the recordization of these different cases. And maybe these other countries will look at that. I don't know if that's going to be part of their data collection or not. We'll have to see.
Yeah, and that report that we found out is not due to come out until the end of summer, which is going to be very interesting on what happens there, because I know Dr. Mona Niemer is trying to keep a real scientific approach up here in Canada. That's, what she has been trying to do. I also know that she has had troubles trying to get information from a lot of Canada's alphabet agencies regarding their files and what they want to give out, because, let's face it, Canada, when it comes to defense and aerospace, is very tied to the United States.
Yeah.
And you take the Canadian Space Agency, they don't do anything without NASA's approval. They don't do anything and an example of that is astronaut Chris Hadfield, who is a pretty much a hero in Canada and real legend. He was adamant that in his 6 months on the space station, he never saw a UFO. He doesn't believe in UFOs. If anybody would know if there's UFOs out there, he would know. Deny. And then all of a sudden, when Leader Bill of NASA, Bill Nelson, came out to the podium after he took over and said, I believe in this UAP stuff and all these reports, and I want to know more and everything. All of a sudden, the next time Chris Hadfield was interviewed, he's like, well, there may be something out there. And if there is something out there, we can explore it. Now, I never saw anything when I was on the space station, but that doesn't mean that it's not out there. So he immediately changed his tune because the NASA boss was now talking publicly about it. And that's kind of the thing they're trying to get around here in Canadian Parliament regarding this. But I do know from my sources that this topic is not going away. It is gaining more and more traction behind the scenes from many members of Parliament across the 5 different parties that are in the House of Commons. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this plays out, Courtney. We got 20 seconds.
Well, that's a good segue with the Canadian Parliament and what's happening with the U.S. It looks like there's going to be field hearings. It looks like evidence was given to Monheim about locations of contractors where those IRAD monies were received. So that's going to be one of the next steps that we're going to see happening here in the next few months is the field hearings, which I kind of mentioned. I think it was a month ago. I mentioned upcoming field hearings. That's going to happen, and we
Hold
might
that
get
thought.
another hearing. Okay.
Hold that thought. Another hearing possible? Courtney Marcassani is on the ball when it comes to the UFO report right here on Spaced Out Radio. We will continue to the top of the hour with Courtney. Stay tuned. The UFO report comes up right after this once again. Good
I have
stuff.
like so much more on my list that we need to get to, so we need to go faster.
All
we
right.
need to speak faster, eh?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right. I'm going to let you lead the way then. We'll get to the hearings, and then we can skip the other story if you need to.
No,
But I said,
no, we don't need to skip it. We got to do the shakedown. We got to shake it all down because it's all connected.
okay, we'll call it the shakedown coming up next. Mm-hmm.
I don't want to say anything because, then people on the air won't hear it. So I don't want to say it now.
I know. It's troublesome that way, isn't it?
But I will say, I think because this is dropping and the other things that were in the news today, it's obviously coordinated. There's a whole timetable happening.
Oh, I love it when you bring up the timetables.
Yeah, there's a timetable.
That makes me feel good. Mm-hmm.
It's like a warm blanket, the timetable.
Mm-hmm. Have any moose in your yard lately?
I have been astonished that there's no moose. I have not seen any moose down here yet. I'm not really sure why they're not, because it's getting warm now. We just had a Chinook come through. So things are melting off, and they're usually down here like eating off the branches of the alders and things, and they're not right now. So I don't know what the deal is. Maybe it's too icy. It's very icy.
No idea. No idea. I haven't been out in the forest in a while. Hey, Shock
Why not?
Filet.
You need to get your butt out there.
I know, but there's certain areas where it's a little too dangerous right now for driving conditions.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
it's a time. I mean, all too well. It's a type of area where, I mean, you go half a mile out of town and the cell phone service is gone.
Yeah. Yes, I do know very well. I thought we were going to lose power tonight because we've just had major wind, like massive wind all night long, and it flicked a couple times, and I was like, "Oh no, please don't go out, power." I was set up though with my backup power, so I could do SOR if I needed to with my little mobile unit, in the dark by candlelight.
So that's why we love you. That's why we love you right there.
Disaster preparedness.
Nothing stops you.
Yeah, most times.
Oh man.
I have some crazy stuff to share. So there was a guy who I met at the Archives of the Impossible 2 years ago. Really interesting person. I didn't get his contact information. I followed up with the organizers down in Houston trying to track this guy down for the last 2 years. And they were basically like, no, we can't help you out. We can't give you personal information from people who attend the conference. And I'm like, I was there. He was there. We had a conversation. What's wrong with giving me the guy's information, right? So I get a note from a fellow on LinkedIn hearing SOR, and he heard me on SOR and doing the news, and we connected, and he had seen my testimonial on UAP Medical Coalition. It was the same guy. I just found out. I was like, oh my gosh, you're the guy I've been trying to track down for 2 years. So he heard me on SOR. So I have to tell you, Dave, you got some reach, brother.
Oh, well, you're bringing that on. You're bringing that on.
That's pretty cool.
Hey, Nicole, I'm sending you something, and Courtney, I'm going to send you something on Signal.
Yeah, I've been meaning to call Nicole because I've been wanting to talk to her, but I don't know what her schedule is, so I haven't been able to. touch base. But I know she's got stuff on the grill cooking.
All right. We got about 30 seconds. Thank you to Louis ×2, Anita, Jake, and Jennifer. Really appreciate the love. If you guys want to read that, there it goes.
I responded.
Yeah. I don't know what the hell that means.
What? What? That is...
Here we go, everyone.
Oh my God.
Final half hour of Spaced Out Radio is now underway. Thank you for joining us. Good old Dave Scott here, the man who wears a lot of tinfoil in his spare time. And why not? I love the woo. We're going to continue with the UFO report here in a moment with Courtney. But first, we want to remind you that all of our archives are always free. Go hit subscribe at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. The reason why? We're close to 25,000 subscribers. We are literally, how many subscribers are we here? Hold on. I'm going to bring this up so that way you can help out. If you're wishy-washy on it, we're 24,955 as of right now. 24,955. I'd love to hit, I would love to hit 25,000 by the end of the month. I think that's possible. Help us out if you don't mind. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the Newswire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. Courtney Marcassani is here again for the UFO report. More meetings, more hearings. What's going on here?
Field hearings are going to be happening based off of testimony from Monheim, the Inspector General, and those are going to be happening in the near future. I'll keep everybody updated, but according to information that's come out today, the contractors who were listed in the skiff by Monheim, information was given, which was basically David Grush's testimony about the IRAD monies that went to certain contractors that helped them, establish their business, give them an edge, basically back engineering crafts. That's the allegation. And so the field hearings are going to be done in certain locations where these contractors are located. So that's going to be upcoming. So I'll keep everybody up to date about the field hearings, and then we might be getting another hearing in the House, in the Oversight Committee. We don't know when that's going to be yet, but that's probably going to happen as well. So I think that's the big thing that everybody's been talking about in 2024 is potentially another hearing. It looks like it's going to happen. So the other big thing is that Moultrie is stepping down. I know that you also saw this news because you sent it to me before we went on tonight. And I'm not sure how people are feeling about that. But for those of us like you and I, because I know that you watched that first hearing that he was in, and people were not happy in this community about his response. He didn't even know about the Wilson documents. It was Gallagher from Wisconsin, remember, in that first hearing that brought up the Wilson documents, and he flat out denied it, that they existed or that he knew about it. And so I don't know how people feel about Moultrie stepping down, but he didn't have a good showing in that first hearing. I don't know how you feel about it, Dave, but
do me a favor, do me a favor, explain to people who Robert Moultrie is.
He was the representative. He was the head of, let me just go and double check so I don't say the wrong branch. He served, I think, for 40 years, and he just stepped down from, let me double check before I say this. I think he is in defense and intelligence, but let me make sure that I Deputy Undersecretary for Defense, for Intelligence, there it is, and Security. And so Moultrie stepping down, he just served, I think, for 40 years. And now the new interim acting is going to be Melancy Harris. Melancy Harris is the new interim Secretary of Intelligence and Defense. And so you can read about her online. She's the former Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense for Irregular Warfare and Counterterrorism. So that's a really interesting connection, don't you think? Counterterrorism.
Yeah, it seems like it's a we've been hearing lately about these potential for a counterintelligence gathering against ufology, trying to end this and get this subject back under the rug where many feel in the alphabet agencies that it deserves to be, and I'm wondering if this is a stronger move towards that. What's your thoughts?
I was wondering, I had an intuitive thought. I wonder if he's going to be the new director of Arrow.
Well, the way he played dumb on this subject, a few months ago, I don't know if he would qualify for that. I really don't, but it would make sense because
it would be par for the course after you look at Sean Kilpatrick's, statements about it just being a small group of well-connected, true believers that are conspiracists that are perpetuating the myth about UFOs, which is just like, after all the reports that were given and, all the evidence that was handed over, including, people like Eric Davis and David Grush being brought to him to testify. How can he say that? How can Kilpatrick go on the record and say that with the evidence that was given? So, if you think about it that way, it wouldn't be that much of a departure, actually.
No, it wouldn't. It wouldn't be much of a departure at all. And, but that's also par for the course. They are going to put someone in there, and let's just be honest here. And I might go on a little bit of an opinion here. They have no interest in putting in someone who believes in disclosure into the Arrow program. They have no interest in that. Even though that's what the program is allegedly for, they are going to get somebody in there, much like NASA has done, to cover this thing up. Okay? They don't want to give us any information, people. If you think the government is on your side regarding UFOs, think again. Then I have a bridge in the middle of the desert to sell you to at an expensive price that you'll pay. Okay, this is just ridiculous how we think, Courtney, that the government actually has our best interests at heart when it comes to UFOs. And I don't see them putting in somebody who's a fan of this subject, who wants to bring disclosure to it. So you might actually have a great point that this job may be for Robert Moultrie.
I think that he's probably gotten an education on it. He sat in that first hearing with Kilpatrick and the various representatives from Arrow. He was obviously very well heeled, tons of experience, and every level that he would need to have it. But he just, he seemed, completely biased or negligent and to some level of not knowing the history. And so I thought that was, he just wasn't prepared, or his game face was a little bit too much to the negative side. Now, I do think that Arrow is going to want to tip the scales a little bit and have somebody who's more open-minded, considering all the backlash that's happening right now from Sean Kilpatrick, because he was considered somebody who was very neutral going in and scientific in his evaluation of everything. And so I think they're going to want somebody like that, but I definitely think it's going to be somebody from the military. I don't think it's going to be a private sector person to head up Arrow. So he would potentially theoretically be a candidate. That was just an insight that I had today when I saw he stepped down. But also in other news, I also saw cybersecurity NSA guy step down and is retiring. Another veteran for like 35 years, he's leaving. And so you have to look at all this turnover that's happening, and including Lou's book that's coming out in November. We got an election season coming up. Things are going to change dramatically. And so you have to kind of look at the tide and how things are turning and where people are going to end up or not or if they're just leaving service. Gallagher from Wisconsin, he's not going to run again. He was pro-disclosure. And so I think we might see other people who have been big activists or advocates for truth and disclosure possibly also stepping down. So you need to look at how this is shaping up and the narrative, and also the way the politics is shaping up too. You can't ignore it. You can't ignore it.
No, you can't. And from there, where do you see some of the major players going? Where do you see the whistleblowers going? Because this is all going to tie in. They need somebody in there who's going to be rough and tough with these whistleblowers, like Kirkpatrick tried to be.
Well, I just saw another thing, two more things to mention on news before we go there, and who's going to end up where. Chris Bledsoe was on Fox News today. So that's another media, a media run that's coming out besides Lou's announcement about his book. Chris Bledsoe's on, Fox News. And the title of the news piece was, Man Can Call in Orbs. Okay, so, that's also interesting, the way that the narrative is shaping up and the way that the disclosure is moving. And then we see Tom DeLonge and Jim Semivan with this, new interview that hits today. It was either today or yesterday. And so everybody's listening to that and what they're comparing notes about. And so it's, you can see the way things are dripping. It's all coordinated. The fact that people would think that it isn't at this stage would be kind of astonishing to me, the way that the drip campaign is working. It's like a good marketing campaign.
It is a good marketing campaign, but does it lead towards disclosure, or does it lead towards something else?
You have to define disclosure. Once again, I hate to have to keep going back to like rudimentary 101, but what would disclosure mean to you, Dave? Because you were talking about confirmation. You've been talking about confirmation the whole time. What categorizes as actual disclosure? Where the programs are, the buildings, the beings?
Absolutely. All of it. The experiences, whether Eisenhower met with aliens, there's a lot of different ones that are out there that need to be. Absolutely.
We're not going to get that. Not this year. I'm sorry. I hate to be the bearer of bad news. I hate to darken your door, but we're not going to get that this year. We're going to get the documentary, maybe, or we're going to get the book. We're going to get Lou's book to try to elevate this dialogue with the media, to get mainstream media looking at it and taking it more seriously. But I don't think we're going to get disclosure on that level.
You don't think so?
The wheel turns very slowly.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I agree with you. And I don't think we'll see that in our lifetime. I really don't think we'll see it in our lifetime.
We will if NHI has anything to do with it. If that part of this whole narrative is true, if there's truth to that, we might see it in our lifetime. If it's a, let's just put it into a hypothetical. Let's just say that we did take crafts at Area 51. Let's say that they go back and they say, yes, Roswell was real. We admit that now. And yes, we developed secret technologies out of that area of the desert, and we closed it off because that's where they landed and that's where we took the craft. What would be the implications of taking another species technology?
I agree.
What if there's rules around that? Like, what if there's, what if there's actually laws that we're unaware of because, we just run by our own law, but maybe there's other laws that are out there that we're not being beholden to, which brings up the text that you just sent, right? There are potentially international laws already here on this planet about UFOs. We have them with Russia. David Grush brought it up during his actual hearing and testimony of where our international law is to contact Russia if there is something that's unidentified in order to prevent nuclear war. So let's just say things escalate in the Middle East, or they escalate with Russia. And then, we're potentially shooting down UAPs, or we're misidentifying them. And then we get into a full-scale global conflict. That kind of thing would maybe prompt NHI to come out and say, hey, we need to disclose because you can't be trusted or this is too dangerous. I could see potentially something like that scenario happening in order to prevent catastrophic disasters to the planet.
Speaking of Roswell was trending on Twitter earlier today, or X, whatever you want to call it. I'm not sure if you noticed that or not, but I find it very interesting that this is a subject that won't go away. It's a subject that is very much in touch. But here's the one thing that I always wonder, and it goes back to Stanton Friedman, the late Stanton Friedman. There were allegedly 2 crashes that day, one at Roswell and one in San Augustine. Why do you think we never hear about San Augustine, where bodies were found, retrieval was made, eyewitnesses were there, and according to Stanton Friedman, it was one of the most credible crashes outside of Roswell that he had ever discovered. And yet we never talk about it. We never bring it up in conversation with the Roswell crash. Why do you think that is?
Well, that's what my sister's always saying. When I was in, Maryland, in the DC area, she and I were driving back up because she was taking me to a friend's house to stay in Baltimore. And she's like, don't you think there's another place besides Area 51? Don't you think Area 51 is the area that they want everybody to think, and really there's another place? And that would make perfect sense. There's another crash. There could be a whole other place. And Area 51 is just like the mirage. Like, look over here, distract everybody from the real place. And there's other things like Trinity, and I mean, there's so many things that have happened out there that have been covered up and been disputed, right? And been disputed that they aren't real or that they're, propaganda or whatever. But I do think that is a valid point. There's probably a whole other base somewhere else that they don't want us to know about. And Area 51 is just it's just a look over here model. I mean, I think that the people who are thinking along those lines are closer to the truth than people who are looking at Area 51 and saying that it's all here. Yeah.
Where do you think that is? I mean,
I don't know where it is. If I knew where it is, I do know that the testimony that you and I both were witness to brings Nellis into the discussion.
I still think that somewhere on one of those little islands around you in Alaska, I think that's where it's the perfect place to hide a base like that. There's zero population. Yes, it's close to Russia, but I think on the UFO front, there's a lot more teamwork than what we know of. That's just my opinion. I think it would be the perfect place.
Well, look, Ross Coulthart just came out with a huge alleged claim that the balloon that was up over us last year, which I knew people who were out there at that time, it was like 30 below up where the balloon supposedly crashed down. And anyway, Ross is now saying that he's got a source that's saying they shot down a UAP on that day. And, I found that hard to believe. But you have to think about all the sightings that have happened in Alaska over the years, and we've had our fair share. I mean, it's one of the hot spots when you look at the list of places where there have been sightings. And so Alaska is definitely an area where there's a lot of anomalous stuff going on in the skies. So yeah, there could be a base up here. There's a lot of rumors. There's a lot of rumors around HARP. There's a lot of rumors around the Alaska Pyramid. There's a lot of rumors around Mount Hayes, that there's beings living under the ground, right? That Lori Williams saw in her remote viewing. So Alaska is definitely a mysterious place. It's, we've got the Alaskan Triangle, similar to the Bermuda Triangle, where people go missing. So there's a bunch of conspiracy theories about Alaska.
When you are out, I'm going to ask this totally off topic. When you are out, because I know you like to go out in the wilderness, like most people in these areas do. I love going out in the wilderness.
Yep.
Do you ever wonder or do you ever wander into the Alaskan Triangle? and just see if some weird stuff is going to happen to you there?
Well, I've heard stories. I mean, in my own family, my brother-in-law had a story about when he was young about the blue light that came up out of the water behind their cabin. They lived up north of Anchorage, up towards like Wasilla area in the Matsu Valley. And they had their whole family experienced something that came out of the water, was hovering over the water behind their cabin. And they shot a shotgun up in the air because they thought, well, if it's a helicopter going down, because it was making all this horrendous noise, like trees were being chopped down and it sounded like a hurricane. The light just shrunk down to a small orb. Now the whole forest was full of it, shrunk down to a small orb, and then the light came down over the hill towards their cabin, and they put a chair up against the door. They had the guns at the ready, and they called 911. The police eventually came, and it was, they said it was nothing. They didn't know what they were talking about. But the next day, my brother-in-law, he was a little boy. He was coming home on the bus. He got home before everybody else, and there was a call that came in, and the voice said, "Hello, Terry. How are you feeling today?" And he said, "I'm fine. I'm fine." And they hung up. And they did that every day for a week. And eventually, like, he told his mom, "Somebody's been calling when I get home from work." And she called the base. She called Richardson and said, "What's going on? Were you doing some testing?" And they said, "No, ma'am, no, there's nothing. You have nothing to worry about. We don't know what you're talking about." So, yeah, I mean, it's happened in my own family.
That is so weird. Courtney, we got about a minute left in the UFO report and the show tonight. What a dynamite report. You just nailing the information out there like another home run. And we really appreciate your efforts for Spaced Out Radio.
Well, thanks. I'll try to stay on top of the news and bring everybody the top stories for Friday night. I like going out and gathering all the fun things that are breaking, because I know everybody doesn't have a lot of time to go out and see what's going on. So it's kind of nice to get it all in one location. And I like that SOR does that for people who are tuning in.
Well, we give you full credit for it because you're the one working hard on our benefit for all of our listeners. So thank you, Courtney Marcassani and the UFO Report. And big thank you to Merle and everybody from the Paranormal Road Trippers for another great show of Ghosts of the Great White North. Steve Stockton as well. Let's give him a shout out from Among the Missing. Make sure you subscribe to his YouTube channel as well. As we say hello to Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thal, rocking in the background with Little Brother is Watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at work, at home, in your cars, wherever you may be. Thank you to everyone in our chat rooms tonight. YouTube, Twitch, LGAP, Facebook, Spreaker, LinkedIn, the Space Travelers Club, and on Twitter. Hashtag Spaced Out Radio.
I know you're out there somewhere.
Remember, this show is copyright Spaced Out Radio and SOR Media Ventures Limited. Thank you so much for choosing to share your evening with us, because together, my friends,
we're watching.
We own the night. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. Yes, the Woo Train has docked for the night, but soon, my friends, we shall ride again. Seats are always available. Your tickets never expire. And if you want to bring a friend, we've got room for them too. Good night. I want to say a quick thing here about some of the people that we have bringing us UFO news, like Courtney, like Nicole Sackich, and like many others in this field. We are, how can I put it? I'm going to say it this way. other shows out there may have guests who are very unilateral in their thinking regarding these subjects. We have people who are getting down and dirty digging. And two of the biggest diggers that I have ever met in this field are Courtney and Nicole. And for them to be teamed up with us here at SOR and bringing us what I feel is proper information to you, our valued listeners, and not only on the YouTube channel but the podcast and radio side, I I'm often dumbfounded by the high quality of information that they are delivering. And there are not a lot of other shows out there, save a few, who are actually able to do exactly what Courtney and Nicole do for SOR. And most of the talk is behind the scenes, and you know, there's always conversations going on every day. It may not be between me and Nicole or me and Courtney, but they're talking every day to people. This is such a giant part of their lives. I mean, these ladies are worth millions. Their information that they have and that they are able to provide for you. And I just want to say that to our audience, we're all really lucky to have both of them as part of our team. Very lucky.
Wow,
So,
don't make me cry now. You're making me think of that scene in McGuire. What was the name of that movie with Tom Cruise when Cuba Gooding is he's
Jerry
the
Maguire.
sportscaster? Yeah, Jerry Maguire. The sportscaster is interviewing Cuba, and he's like, "Don't make me cry now. Don't make me cry now." And he like brings out his childhood and all of his sad story coming up, and he eventually cries. He's like, "I wasn't gonna do it. Don't make me cry, Dave. Don't make me do it."
Uh, Courtney,
That's very thoughtful of you. Thank you. I really appreciate that. It's really nice of you to say that.
you you make us better. You really do make us better, and you give us such a strong voice in this community that it is second to none. And I'm so thankful, so thankful.
Well,
can't-
it's been nice to have the network open up and being able to be free to talk with Nicole, because she's just on a whole nother level. She's in the stratosphere. So I go up into the stratosphere and I'm like, I can hang with you for a little bit, but she just takes off like a rocket. And I'm like, there she goes. Like she's way above me. So I just, you got a tiger by the tail with that one. But I try to keep up with her. I do my best. It's more like a
hard.
slow plodding. She's like a tiger. Mm-hmm.
Oh, talking with Nicole is like, and I mean this with all due compliments, and she's going to laugh when I say this, but Nicole is a slower talking version of knowledge as Grant Cameron, where she could go off on 17 different subjects in 3 minutes and break it all down for you, where you actually have some semblance of understanding of what the hell she's talking about.
She's a very divergent thinker. Her and Grant are both very divergent in their thinking, where they can go and make different connections, and then somebody says something, and then they access that information, and it's just wild, to observe it. I'm going to have a little bit of that, but not to that level. They're both so divergent in their thinking and very intuitive. That's my power going off in the background. But that's what's gonna make disclosure happen at our level, at the activist level, is people like Nicole and you and I talking and open up doors and put our hand out to one another and help one another. That's the only way we're going to do it.
I want thank you, Cosmic Joe and Pam H. Thank you. I want you to explain to people, if you don't mind, okay? And I don't want to sound like we're bragging here, uh, and maybe we are a little bit. I'm okay with that. But I would like you to explain to people how many people outside of what they are seeing, but people within, because you found out, and it kind of shocked me a little bit, even though I already knew, but it still shocks me how many people of importance are actually listening to this show and the UFO report to find out information of what's going on.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really amazing the people that are tuning in to hear the shakedown on the news. I think there's a couple reasons for that. I think that we've established in your and my rapport that we have, that we both have good connections and we bring those together, and that synergistic thing that happens is probably pretty cool for people to watch, which we knew that was going to happen. We talked about that in the beginning when we started doing the news program together. But I also think that people are sharing information with us because they want us to get it, which is really cool. We're getting some advantages of people saying, hey, did you see this? Did you see that? And so that helps us get news fast to get it out to the listenership. And that's the other reason why I think people are listening, because they think we're going to talk about stuff they haven't heard yet, which is really cool to be on that front edge of breaking things. I mean, I actually kind of like it. That's fun.
When you have agents, and all three of us, when you have agents and agencies calling you up and asking you how you got that information and what you're doing, and or feeling that they could trust you to get that information out, that is an extreme compliment for the hard work that we are doing. We're not, and the one thing that I love about it is we're doing it the right journalistic way. Okay, we're not breaking stories for the sake of harming people or bringing out BS videos of UFOs, or we're not doing it the wrong way. And I've had a couple people approach me and say, "Hey, I don't mind passing you information, because I know when I tell you you didn't get this from me, they know that I'm not going to mention their name."
When a certain group was kind of like warning me and were like, where'd you get this? I was like, I'll never tell. Like, you could put me in jail if you want. I'm not going to ever tell where I got this. And they were just like, come on now, like, you can tell. And I was like, no, I actually cannot tell, like, it's a person that I cannot share who they are. And I haven't. And I think that people do respect that. They kind of expect that you're going to break secrecy and you're going to break ranks and you're going to share it, because people tend to have a tendency to do that. But I haven't, because, these people, especially people in the CIA, they're people doing a job, and so I respect that the job that they're doing is important to keep people, safe. But we're also doing a job too. And I take that seriously, even though it's a service thing. I look at this as like a service to people in the community. It's an important service. And I look at it that way, as a very important, valuable service to people in the community, because it's a privilege to be on SOR, to share the news. That's how I look at it. It's a privilege for me to do that. So that's why I take it seriously.
Oh yeah, I take it seriously too, because getting to be, I mean, I just wish that if I was doing SOR full time, we would be bringing in so much more news. We really would. And I would, my first thing that I would be doing is expanding our YouTube channel to try and put more little thoughts and programs out there about these topics. The unfortunate part about it is, in order to do the journalism side of the job properly, you have to be doing it full time.
Yeah.
You have to be doing it full time.
Yeah, I agree.
And that's my dilemma that I have right now, is that this is something that I would like. When I was a journalist in radio a number of years ago, I was a bulldog. I would have no problem calling somebody up for a story, and even after they've told me 3 times to piss off and hang up the phone, they're not talking to me, I'd still wiggle a story out of them, right? And I would love to be doing that for SOR right now. But the benefit of that would be The benefit would be we would be a real leader in this field when it comes to the news, okay, of what is going on. The downside to it is, with me working a daytime job where I can't really work on SOR, I lose a lot of phone call and phone time hours. Like, you have to be spending at least 3 to 7, 8 hours a day on the phone calling people and talking to people and taking notes and filing those notes, and you just don't put them on computer. You have to do it the paper way as well, because if your computers ever go down for whatever way or system, you always have to have that backup. And a lot of people say, well, put it on a cloud. Well, if somebody's hacking your computer, they can get into your cloud. So old-fashioned handwriting and paper works the best. And unfortunately, I can't do that. I wish I could. I would love to be doing that.
I was thinking about that. I was on my run, actually. I was running in the ice, and I was thinking, Dave talked about doing SOR. And so I was talking with a friend of mine, and I was talking about all the stuff that we've been able to break on SOR and how great it's been going. And they were like, you and Dave, you guys set your intention to do this, and your intensity is so high that all of it's happening, like what you wanted to create. And so I was just running, and I was like, we need to create a full-time SOR where Dave can get paid, to do SOR full-time, and I'll back him up with the news segments. And I thought, well, if our intention is strong, then it'll happen. Because look, let's face it, people are helping us. People are helping us. I mean, they're calling us, they're sharing stuff, they're sharing stories, they're sharing timelines, they're sharing, the latest Twitter stuff. So we're kept abreast of things. I mean, we have so many people out there helping us, and I am really grateful for all the help. When people send me stuff, I check it out right away, and I'm like, oh, thank you. Thank you so much. I'll get it on the news. And so we've got people who are kind of like our on the street folks helping us out, which is really cool because it's a community.
And I want to, before we say goodnight here, I want to give you a compliment, if you don't mind. I really do. You are, you are not only a brilliant person in this field, okay, and highly knowledgeable and credible, but one of the things that people behind the scenes don't know is there's been a couple of times, 2 or 3 times now, where you were very much like, I don't know if this is worth it. I don't know if I should be doing this, because of the situations you were put in. But you know what? You were like a UFC fighter. You may have been knocked down, but you've gotten right back up on your feet, and you've put your fists back up and said, let's go. And I am so proud of you for that, in a couple of really hard situations where I'm going to say it, you were scared, and I was scared for you. Okay. But you've battled, and you have been such a rock, not only for yourself, but for SOR, for me, and for the people like Nicole and others who need you to be doing what you're doing. You are so important, and you are just taking full command and authority of everything that we need in this field. And you
Thanks,
need
Dave.
a big hug and a pat on the back for your hard work, because you don't give up. You are, and might I add to that, is that the first time that happened, where you really got scared, you were like, I don't know if I could continue with SOR. I don't know if I should do this. And I said, this is the door. If you remember, I said, this is the door that's going to open for us if we just do things this certain way.
Yep.
And look what's happened in the last month and a half. Look how many doors have opened for you.
It's true.
And that's to your credit. That is completely to your credit on everything that you have gained in the last 6 weeks. And, I'm just going to say, you're fucking amazing. You really are.
Thanks,
And
Dave. You had my back. You had my back.
damn rights I did.
Yeah.
Damn rights I did.
Yep. So,
Many-
you and I are building trust too, and figuring this whole thing out. And people are seeing our, growing through this whole process. And there's definitely been some, pitfalls, but we've steered clear of most of them. And we'll just keep taking the next shot and the next shot and the next shot. I'm looking forward to what's to come.
You're amazing. You're amazing. And on that note, we're going to say good night to everybody and a big thank you to Joe, Pam H., Louis ×2, Anita, Jake, and Jennifer for the super chats tonight. Thank you to everybody who hit subscribe and rang that bell. We very much appreciate the love and support. Tomorrow night on the show, they call him Captain Ron. Ron Janix is going to join us talking about UFOs, aliens, interaction with humans, disclosure. We're going to get into it all tomorrow night with Ron Janix, 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern. Courtney, much love, and we'll talk to you soon, and we'll see you all tomorrow night. And don't forget, it's the Dave 101 tomorrow night as well. We'll see you tomorrow night, everybody. Take care.
Stay healthy, my friend.
You too.
If you need bail money, give me a call.
Always, Dad. Take care.
You too.